Hello. All right. We are back, y'all. Another season is on its way. First preseason game is officially in the books, and we get to do our first post-game stream of the season. So I am very excited to be back and doing this again with you guys. So thank you for showing up. This is awesome. I sincerely do appreciate everyone showing up here at the start of the stream, and we get to talk some Bulls basketball once again, finally. And obviously not Summer League, right? So finally some NBA level basketball that we can talk about. I think there's a lot to talk about from this first preseason game. There's some stuff that I'm definitely not pleased with, like all the turnovers that we saw. That wasn't great. The defensive intensity was not good in the early part of the game. There's a lot to work on there when it comes to the Bulls, but I think there's a lot of positives, honestly, from this game that, you know, I'm not necessarily here to say, like, oh, this is going to transfer into the regular season, but I think there's some signs here that I'm like, hey, like, this is good. Like, this is a good sign. Will this continue? I don't know. I hope it can continue, but there's some really good stuff here that I think we can really think about moving forward and look to in either future preseason games or into the regular season here. Especially for Montas Buzelis, man. Like, Buzelis, he might honestly surprise the hell out of me this year if he continues to do what we saw today. So I really want to talk about Buzelis in this one. There's a lot to talk about, from, like, I would assume it was, like, you know, he was by far the Bulls' best player in the first half, to Buzelis' great third quarter that we saw today. The defensive intensity did pick up in that second quarter into the beginning of the third quarter, which was a good sign overall, but there's still some stuff we got to talk about there. I do want to break down a few things with the Bulls offense. There's a little bit of a new wrinkle to it that I do want to talk about as well in today's stream. So before we get into this all, though, if you could all hit the like button on the stream, helps me out a lot. I sincerely do appreciate it. I'm glad to see that a lot of you are all watching, you know, Bulls preseason just like I am, and are just as crazy people as I am when it comes to this team. I understand why people do not watch preseason, but I think this is important to watch. So yeah, I'm looking good. I'm liking what we're seeing right now from the Bulls so far. So there's some good stuff, there's some bad stuff, but we'll talk about it all. What's going on? Kick me down. I see ya. All right, hold on, I'm bringing out chat here. We win. We all win. I missed most of the second half, but not the last 0.3. Gotcha. He saw the last 3/10 of the game. Good job. Kick me down. Yeah, I don't know what happened with Thomas Bryant on that last play, honestly. The pass was behind him, so maybe it just took him forever to gather it. But I don't know, just odd. But hey, well, you know, Bulls win. Thought Noah played well. I also thought Asenge did a pretty good job today. I think we all kind of see with Asenge that, like, yeah, there's a lot that he needs to work on, but as I've been constantly talking about with my community, is that, like, I expect there to be a lot to work on for Asenge, right? I think that there's always a lot to work on when it comes to Asenge, right? And he's a, you know, 18-year-old rookie, very clearly not into his full, he's not, you know, fully built yet as a player. There's gonna be a lot to work on, but the thing with Asenge that I was always drawn to, and the reason why I really wanted the Bulls to pick him, one is the physical tools, and I think we saw some of it today. I mean, you can tell that he is very lengthy out there. He has great size. His wingspan very much affects the people on the court. We saw him get a lot of offensive rebounds with his size and length, right? But the biggest thing to me is that he has this feel of the game that isn't something that can always be taught. And you could just kind of see that especially on the offensive side of the floor, he moves, like, pretty well. Like, he understands where to take up space. And that's, again, like, something that a lot of young guys maybe just don't fully get immediately, and it takes some time. And I think that's going to allow him to maybe get some playing time in his rookie season, even if it's just minuscule. Like, I do think he needs to get some playing time his rookie season in the NBA, and not spend the entire not spend the entire year down in the G League. He'll definitely get G League minutes, no doubt about it. I'm totally fine with that, but having that sort of feel already as young as he is, like, it's gonna help all the rest of his skills kind of come together. Yeah, I think he did a good job today. We saw him take 4 free throws. We saw him get some cuts to the basket, put the ball on the deck, and he, you know, made a layup off a double stagger away. We saw him hit a 3-point shot in the corner. His jump shot definitely looks to, there's some different motion going on that from what we saw earlier, which is good. A little bit more stable from him, which is a good sign. But yeah, I liked what I saw at the end there. It's not perfect by any means. But this is, he is a gamble, and I am very much aware of it, but I think it's a good gamble. So hopefully he's going to be able to round those skills out and be a really impactful player for us. But I liked what I saw, man. I think I could go through another 20 timeout game season. Yeah. Our 20 turnover game season. Yeah, bro. Unfortunately, just get used to it. This team is going to, because they play fast and there really isn't like a designated ball handler on this squad, you're gonna have to get used to it. I'm sorry. Yeah, it sucks, and I know that it's like, Jesus, man, like, can we not do that? But when you play that fast, that's what's gonna happen. So yeah, get used to it. No, look better than I thought this early. Like I said, like, I think people will be a little bit more shocked to kind of see like his feel. Again, like his ball handling there needs to be some work. The jump shot's not that consistent, obviously. I mean, he's get stronger, better finisher at the rim, but you can just see he's active, right? And that's something that I truly do value when it comes to young players, is how active are you? How much effort do you give me, right? And Asengia, like, he's giving the effort early. He's moving around the court where he should be. That's good. Like, those are good signs, yeah. Also, Reggie Miller might be the worst commentator of all time. I am so sorry to all of y'all that had to listen to Peacock. I'm definitely, if just to prepare everybody, I will be going on a rant about Chicago Sports Network in this stream. I had an absolute just horrible time with Chicago Sports Network today. But I luckily was able to get the feed today from Chicago Sports Network. If you're not up to date, they took the antenna away, which is really stupid by them. But yeah, I'm also very much aware that the game was on Peacock tonight, and I'm sorry to all of y'all that had to listen to Reggie Miller. Yeah, he's definitely not. I don't know if I'd call him the worst commentator of all time, because I think there's been worse, but yeah, he's not good. I don't mind turnovers when playing fast. The turnovers at the half court that kill me. I would agree with you. Yeah, there's some half court turnovers today, especially, that was just like it's just unacceptable. Like, it wasn't even like Cavaliers were playing good defense. It was just bad decision making. Yeah, I think that it. If we're gonna have some turnovers because we're trying to push the ball, I can live with it, definitely. If you're gonna have turnovers though because we decide to jump up in the air when it's unnecessary to do that, and try to flail a pass out just because we accidentally jumped up into the air way too quickly and have nowhere to go, that's not acceptable. Like, we gotta limit those. And then like Zach Collins, for example, I saw like he got thrown the ball at the elbow, and then he's just trying to dribble it just normally to do a handoff, and he loses it, and we're going the other way suddenly. Like, that can't happen. But again, young team, maybe not new offense, but there's definitely some wrinkles to the offense. They're a little bit different. But young players are gonna make mistakes, so we kind of have to live with it at the end of the day. But it's okay. Patrick Williams does have the chemistry. I like Chicago without him on the court. So interestingly, CM Sharp, I actually thought Patrick Williams played pretty well today. He had some mess ups, but I actually think Patrick played pretty well today. I'm gonna give him his credit. I am a very big Patrick Williams, like, I criticize the absolute hell out of him because what he's done in his career is unacceptable. But I actually think Patrick Williams did pretty well today. Like, I'm actually being dead serious. I think he had some good defensive possessions on Mobley. His offensive game, we saw some like good, more active movements in the half court. He took a 3-point shot when he was open, which was a good sign. Like, there are some good signs today, at least in my opinion, from Patrick Williams. Again, it wasn't like, starter level or anything, but there was some good signs today. And I want to give the credit when it's due to these guys. I'm not just going to be, hating on Patrick Williams, just to hate on him, right? I'm going to definitely give him his props when it's due. And I think P. Will actually played pretty well today. So definitely give it to him with that. But yeah, that's just my opinion at the end of the day, though. I can definitely see, though, if you thought that he didn't play well today, why you thought that. But I think Patrick actually did pretty well today. I give him props. I like that core mood. If he finds a shot, don't mind seeing him as a starter. Yeah, there's some good stuff from Okoro from both ends of the floor. Specifically defensively, we saw some good stuff today. I'm gonna show you a play later that it's gonna be interesting to see if Okoro can like capitalize on this sort of play, but something called zoom action. That if he's able to like hit the 3-point shot, it's gonna be a pretty effective play for him. So yeah, I actually think with Okoro, like he moved well. We saw some cuts that he got some layups off of, which is good. Defensively, you know, we saw him get fighting through some screens, especially at the end of the second quarter, that helped create some turnovers where Trey Jones was able to get the steal. There's some good signs from Okoro. I will say this though with Okoro, like one of my things, if you guys didn't watch my preseason video, like the 5 things to watch in preseason, one of the things that I was heavily paying attention to though is like, what is Okoro's role on offense? Like, is there going to be more of a role for him on offense? Because like Casey Johnson's been like hyping up that maybe Okoro can be like a more prominent role on offense type of guy. I don't think it's going to be anything different than what maybe we saw today. Still mostly a 3-point shooter, especially in the corner, hitting, you know, taking a lot of cuts, setting some screens here and there. His ball handling definitely isn't the best. Like, there's some sloppy moments from him in today's game that didn't result in a turnover necessarily, but it wasn't like great. But with that being said, I do think that he did a good job in those off-ball moments to create, you know, get open for a 3-point look, to cut backdoor along the baseline and get a layup out of it. There's some good stuff here that I'm happy to see. So having a guy that, you know, moves at the forward position, that's an off-ball guy, but moves around, gives good defense, is active, like, we'll take it, because as we just talked about Patrick Williams, he doesn't, you know, Patrick doesn't always do that, right? It was a good game from Patrick today, but it hasn't been consistent in his career. So, yeah. How many pounds did P will lose? Looks slimmer? I'm actually not too sure. I have not looked at the total weights yet for these guys, but he definitely looks slimmer, for sure. I think he probably lost like around 10 pounds, but we'll see. I really liked how Okoro looked. Yeah, I'm happy with what Okoro did today. Obviously, it's got to continue, and for right now, it does seem like he probably has the front-running spot for that 5th starter spot right now, but it's got, you know, we got to continue seeing this, right? Pretty well. We need more of that, more than that. I mean, yeah, like Patrick is like paid as a starter, so like pretty well probably isn't gonna cut it. But I think right now, like I'm being dead serious. Like Patrick played so bad last season that he was just so tremendously bad that I'm like, we probably like just need to bench him. Like it was probably better just for him not to play. So just taking, like, if I could just get anything, like good bench minutes out of him, I'll take it. It's not the ideal situation. Like yes, I want him to be a starting level caliber player, but he might just not be that. But I'll take anything because last season was horrific from him. So he needs to have some sort of rebound year, and if that means just like decent bench minutes, then hey, step in the right direction. Yuki's gonna get cut, right? I don't think he will. Yuki is not on the 15-man roster, if you're wondering. He's on a 2-way contract, so he will be mostly in the G League. But I honestly think his 2-way contract spot is pretty secure. He played pretty well today. Had some nice passes to Zach Collins. You can see how much he pushes the tempo, and the defense is forced to, you know, actually defend him. And it's like it's some nice stuff from Yuki. But yeah, he'll be in the G League this year. He's on a 2-way contract, so I don't think the Bulls are gonna cut him. Honestly, I think they like what they see from him, and I like what I see from him right now. Yuki's probably be a G League mainstay. Yeah, I expect Yuki to stay in the G League for most of the season, just like, you know, all the other 2-way contracts. Like, we didn't see Ulbrich today, so I don't know if he wasn't available for some reason. But yeah, I expect to just see those guys sticking in the G League for most of the year, and that's cool. Like, I think that's perfectly fine for those 2-way guys. I don't know the statistics, but Patrick, Dalen, and Julian have got to be a net negative one on the court together. When you mean all 3 of them play together and not like individually, just like all 3 of them together on the court, I would agree with you. I don't like that lineup. That lineup does not have enough spacing, not enough ball handling, to be like a good effective lineup. Has like some defensive potential, obviously, but nothing great. Yeah, that lineup where it was like Io, Patrick Williams, Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, and like Zach Collins, I didn't like that lineup out there. And it's because of those 3 guys mostly. Yeah, I agree with you. If you're saying like all 3 of them together playing at the same time, it's probably a net negative. But yeah, I think individually though, there were some good moments from all of them today. I think Dalen probably had the worst game out of all of them. He had some rough turnovers, which is fine. But yeah, I overall though, I think Patrick played probably the best out of them, and that's a good thing. Like I want Patrick to succeed. Like I criticize the hell out of him, but I want him to succeed. It's just been rough. It's been a rough journey from him. I want to see more from him though, so we'll see. I want to see Elbridge. Yeah, I don't know what's up with Elbridge. He was like in a sweatshirt, so I don't think it was available today, which is fine. We'll maybe get some more word on that later. But if you guys have not hit the like button on the stream, please do. Helps me out a lot. I sincerely appreciate all the support. I'm happy to see a lot of y'all watch the first preseason game, which is great. Continue to watch preseason. It's an important time. So yeah, I sincerely do appreciate everyone checking in into the first post-game stream of the year. I'm excited to be talking basketball, and yeah, talking about Montes, bro. I want to talk about Montes so much in this post-game stream. I have plays ready, man. Like that third quarter was just like, oh my god. Like I already, I think we all know how much, if you've been around on this channel, like, you know how much I love Montes, but to see the things that we saw in that third quarter, it shocked the hell out of me with some of the things he did. And I was like, oh man, this gives me some confidence in, like, hey, he wants to win most improved. He might not win most improved, but like, he might actually be in a discussion if he can continue to harness what he did today and do it more consistently. This is a potential jump year. There is potential, I'm seeing the potential for him to actually take a massive leap this year, which would be fantastic. Like, if he takes a massive leap, my confidence in this Bulls team skyrockets. Like, it's so much higher than what it is right now, because right now it's in the dirt when it comes to this Bulls squad and its future. But if Buzalis takes a massive jump, bro, there's a lot to be looked at here that I'm like, oh my god, we're going somewhere. Let's just jump right into this, because I want to show you a couple things when it comes to like what Buzalis did. Talk about some of the plays that the Bulls are running. There's some new things to be looked at. Let's see how the quality is. Okay, sorry, hold on. All right, cool. All right, quality looks pretty good on the recording, so I'm glad this all worked out. I've had to change the way I record games, and thanks Chicago Sports Network for an absolutely terrible day today. If you're wondering what happened to me with Chicago Sports Network, so I had the White Sox subscription only on my account that I used for it, and you know, that's still active, but then I go to buy the Bulls only subscription because obviously the Bulls play today and it's not working. Support took forever to reach back out to me, so I'm like, all right, like, screw you guys, I'm just gonna make a new account, like, with a different Gmail, get the 7-day free trial, because y'all are insane, y'all are incompetent. Luckily it worked out today. I'm not really sure what's gonna happen in a week here, but yeah, I cannot stand Chicago Sports Network. The quality of the organization is terrible. I'm sorry. It got Emmy nomination somehow, and I don't know how it did, but dear Lord, I'm just pissed. Anyway, though, I was scared about what I saw from Montes in Summer League, because it felt like he was doing too much then, and it felt like he was forcing things, but it's clear he was testing things. Yeah, I think part of Summer League is that it's just there's the lack of structure was kind of like showing, like, oh, you know, there's a lot of chaos, and he was trying to have the on-ball opportunities, but without the structure around him, it was hard for him to get those on-ball opportunities. There was definitely some moments where it looked like he was trying to do too much. With that being said, though, he's very clearly probably the most talented guy. Maybe Asenge is next to him on that roster, right? He's like, if not the best player on that roster. So like, he's probably putting that pressure on himself. When instead here, it's like, okay, there's a lot more structure. There's, you know, guys to take a little bit off his shoulders around here, and he can play a little bit more freely, right? Like, he doesn't always need to bring the ball up the floor with this team, right? He can run down in transition and then get the ball and then take it to the rack, right? So yeah, I think there's definitely just like the Summer League chaos and the unstructuredness of Summer League kind of led to some of those moments. I will say, though, definitely in that first game, though, where everyone did struggle in that Raptors game, there was definitely some meh moments from him. But today, though, we gotta talk about what we saw today. There's some great stuff. What's going on, Charles? Briefly, but glad it's back on. I looked best then boozed, and getting the rest played pretty bad. Trey actually was the turning point, so give him props too. I mean, honestly, for me, like, I don't think really Giddy did anything today. Like, I'm being dead serious. Good passes though. There's some definitely moments from Giddy that maybe we could talk about. I'm not gonna be too critical of him, but there's some things. I think it was, to me, overall, the best player tonight was Buzelis after that second half. I think Io was second because that first half from Io was spectacular. Like, that was just incredible from him. After that, though, I think it's kind of up in the air who's like the third best player. I think you can make an argument for Zach Collins with that second half that he had, which was pretty solid from him. But overall, though, I think the big standouts there were definitely Buzelis and then Io for sure. And I think that's what I'm going to take away from it, honestly. I felt the opening thing of Kevin taking the ball up was a bit weird to see for those several minutes. I didn't like that either, but yeah, it is what it is. It's kind of the freedom within the Bulls offense to allow any of the perimeter guys to bring the ball up. So I'm not really too concerned about it. But yeah, it is something to just keep an eye on. Not too bothered by the first game though. Seeing what our likely stars are nice. Vooch more concerning than it was before the game, but early days. Yeah, I don't really know how to judge Vooch honestly because he's the vet on this team. I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. I need to take a phone call. I do apologize. Hold on. Okay, I'm so sorry. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. All right, hold on. Give me a second here. I want to pull up this stuff here. All right, we're gonna talk about Buzelis first today because there was some really good stuff here from Buzelis that I want to really put on full display from him because this is a really good sign of his on-ball development because he talked a big game on media day, right? We saw a big game or like a big like confidence from him on media day, talking about what he worked on in the summer, which is a lot of on-ball stuff. Shooting a 3-point shot off the dribble, shooting a 3-point shot when the defender goes under the screen, and just in general ball handling. Okay, and so let's watch this from Buzelis today. All right, let me get my Epic pen out. All right, full screen. Let's go. So, this is. Oh, sorry. Nope. We're gonna skip ahead after the free throws. That's right. Okay. I forgot. He missed the rebound on this one. All right. Here we go. So, Bulls on the break on this play, and so we see Buzelis does a good job of spreading out and just going up the floor. Good job by Okoro here to just get the ball and run with it, right? Don't take the time to just, if someone's up, obviously, like, pass it up, right? We saw that from him later where he passed up to Trey Jones, but good job by Okoro just to push it. This is great. Like, if Buzelis is a threat to do this, bro, like, okay. Like, this is off the dribble shooting the 3-ball, right? This is a skill that he worked on in the offseason. If he's going to be a threat to do this in transition, oh my God. Like, this is fantastic. Why is this good? Well, let me show you why. Because then we see Buzelis a little bit later. He decides, okay, well, I made that last shot, right? That three-point pull-up shot in transition. Okay, so let's watch this play. So he gets the defensive rebound here. Good job getting it with Jarrett Allen here in the paint. This is Jarrett Allen. Okay, And so he gets the defensive rebound and brings it up himself, because this is the freedom that the Bulls allow within their offense, right? And so he just knocked down a pull-up three-point shot and right where he's coming from, okay? So the defense is now thinking, oh, hey, he might actually just launch this, right? So Mobley has to actually respect that three-point shot now off the dribble, okay? And what does Buzelis do? He hesitates. He does a little hezzy move, right? And it gets Mobley to commit just enough so that Buzelis gets a little bit of a step going to his left here. And now he has, look at how fast he gets past Mobley. This is the defensive player of the year from last season, right? It is preseason. I'm very much aware of that, right? But this is the defensive player of the year from last season that has been talked about as, like, you know, great perimeter and interior defender. And Buzelis, from that little hesitation move, got the step on him and was able to go left and finish with his left hand easily. This is why, when it comes to Buzelis, like, when he talks about working on his three-point shot off the dribble, it opens up stuff like this, right? This is all coming together. I'm like, oh my God, like that play right there, I was like, dear Lord, okay. Like, was not expecting to see that, because I know how good of a defender Mobley is. But to see that, man, that's incredible. I was like, that is really, really awesome to see from Buzelis. So let me go to the next play that I was also just really happy to see from him. All right, where is it? Foul. There it is. Okay. So after the break, it was okay. Yeah. All right. So this is an inbound. As you can see here, the Bulls have very clearly have a big, like, a big emphasis for Buzelis to get the ball, just, you know, have these on ball reps. So, like, you know, if you watch my preseason video that I released today, one of the things I talked about was, all right, let's see what Buzelis is able to do with these on ball reps. And this is great. Just to see this right off the bat is, hey, you're like kind of like with Kobe out, like he's kind of like our secondary ball handler in this instance, right? Great sign. So we bring it up the floor, right? And I'm gonna just call this, like, it's not exactly what I'm about to call it here, but it's sort of like this. Honestly, I'm interested to know what other people call this, but like it's pretty much what I like to call it. It's empty drag. Pretty much though, what this means is that when I say empty drag, empty means that there's no one on the strong side corner. It's an empty corner on that side of the floor, okay? Drag screen is usually, you see that the screener, they typically come from behind. So like Vooch usually would like come up from behind and he'd be screening this way instead of what they're doing here. This is kind of like, correct me if I'm wrong, this might be like pistol action. I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to double check how this looks later, or what exactly the proper play call for this is. But either way though, you see that this is a clear out for Buzelis on his side of the floor, right? It's an empty pick and roll with, this is all open, right, between Buzelis and the screener, and you have three guys, right, on the weak side, okay? And to watch Buzelis operate in this pick and roll is just crazy. I'm like, okay, switch happens, right? He understands that now that Larry Nance is the big, he switched onto him off of Vucevic, so now Vucevic has his man, right? And he immediately, right off the switch, decides, all right, I have the big man on me. I am going to use my speed advantage and quickness to get past Larry Nance and get the step on him with just automatic decision making. Like, this is like, to me, this is advanced stuff. And gets the step on him and already has him beat automatically, right? And Larry Nance is forced to follow him. And I thought Buzelis was gonna get a slam out of this one, but Larry Nance got enough of him, right? This is it. Right, this is what we talked about, the next steps for Buzelis. He wasn't doing this last season. I just didn't expect it to see it already, because I was expecting this more so in year 3 from him, right? Like, I think year 3 would, in my head, was more realistic for him to make sure the ball handling is more secure. You know, you learn a lot in your sophomore season, and so maybe the game is a little bit more slowed down for you come your third year. But he's doing this in the beginning of year 2, and he hasn't played a single regular season game of his sophomore season. This is crazy to me. I'm like, all right, I have more faith that he might be able to take this jump, where I'm like, all right, you want most improved player, it's not just gonna have to be the defensive end of the floor from you that you have to be great at. Like, you have to be really good on the offensive side, and this is the sort of skills and the IQ for that to happen. I'm like, okay, this is good. It has to continue, obviously. Like, this is just one game, but it's a good sign early on. I'm like, hey, we can maybe see some good offensive on-ball skills from Buzelis this season. And if he's able to take a massive leap, man, like, once again, I'll feel so much better about this Bulls team moving forward. Sorry. Yeah, he was going Mobley of all people, like, damn it. Yeah. I really hope to keep Io after this season. I'm with you. I'll talk about Io in a second here of what we should maybe do. If he would have played the whole game, he would have had 10 plus assists. If throughout the season he can get 5 a game to Buzelis, there will be a problem. So to me, though, let me just be clear about with Giddey. A lot of people, like maybe you guys, I just want to make this clear just really quickly. Like, I know Giddey can get 10 assists a night. To me, though, that's not what I care about. Like, I know Giddey can pass. He's a good passer. I'm very much aware of it. He has great floor vision. Again, I'm aware of that. I'm more concerned about Giddey scoring. You know, the assists are nice, but if you're gonna be a main ball handler, you gotta do what Buzelis has just shown me in these clips right here, right? You gotta be able to score by yourself or score through the pick and roll. That's why with Giddey, I'm not that impressed tonight, because he had some pretty rough moments where he had a switch with Jarrett Allen and wasn't able to get by him. You know, he took some threes, he missed them, which is fine. But it's to me with Giddey, it's not about the assist. I don't really care about the assist. I know he's gonna give me the assist. To me, it's you better be able to score the basketball, and he didn't really show that to me tonight. It's, you know, one preseason game. I'm not gonna be like, like, you know, Giddey signing was already a mistake. I'm not gonna do that, but that to me is the problem. Like, it's always the thing with Giddey that I've always said. If you're gonna be the main ball handler on this squad, you have to score. That there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This whole pass first point guard idea is just not a thing. We can't have that right now. If Giddey's not gonna be that though, then you need a Buzelis to blossom into a 26 point per game scorer. Okay, he's then a main ball handler, and then Giddey has to play an off ball role and he has to adjust. But you know, I'm not gonna like automatically just make like, oh, Giddey's not gonna score or anything like that. Like, I'm gonna wait for him to obviously play in the regular season here. But I just want to make that clear. With if I say I'm not that impressed by Giddey, it's because he didn't score. It's not because of his lack of assists. Like, yeah, his assists are great, and I appreciate him continuously moving the ball. But it's always for me, it's can you score the basketball consistently? That's always it. For me, I don't have much faith in this Bulls team's future if he's gonna be the main ball handler and he's only gonna be scoring 14 tonight. That's not enough. I need you to score at bare minimum 20. But for me, I'm like, just get me to 18 from you. Like, I don't know if you can even do that. So that's gonna be my thing with Giddey. If I ever am like disappointed by him or criticize him, it's not gonna be his passing. It's not gonna be that. It's gonna be his lack of scoring, which is what I need him to improve on. That's it. So let me just make that clear right now. What are Giddey assisting Booz? We'll wait. Sorry. What are Giddey assisting Booz more will do what we will do to Vucevic? Oh, I see what you're saying. So because Giddey assisted Vucevic was pretty common. Yeah. We'll see what happens with the pecking order, honestly, with this Bulls team. I won't be shocked if Vucevic has a lesser of a role. But we'll see. It's early days right now. But I'm more so interested in just if Buzelis just can get his own shot off. But if Giddey can find a way to set up Buzelis effectively for certain situations, then that'd also be really good. I think that would make me feel a lot better about this Bulls team moving forward. Vooch gonna get hits. He can still hit the three if Buzelis kicks back out to her and is jammed up. Well, I mean, I think Vooch obviously, like, we'll see what sort of three-point shooter we get from Vucevic this season, because that's gonna be the question for me. Vooch had a great year last season in terms of his efficiency, but his three-point consistently year to year is not consistent. Like, we saw obviously his like first full year here, he shot awfully, right? So I don't really know what we're gonna get from him. Like, if he's not hitting his threes, then I honestly don't really see a reason to really play him. But that's up to Billy, honestly. But hopefully, you know, Giddey can find ways to make sure Vooch is open and get him the three-point shot. I don't know if he get the ball as much though with Vooch, Giddey, and Kobe all in front of him. Well, that's the reason why the Bulls need to make some decisions, right? Like, there's an adamant reason why I've been saying that, hey, Vooch needs to get off the team because of situations like this. Because if Buzelis is going to take the leap, then, you know, Vooch's possessions need to go to Buzelis. But also, we also just have to have the discussion, right? Like, do the Bulls need to trade Kobe? Does Giddey actually have to take a back seat? If Buzelis is going to be, your main scorer, then Giddey's just going to have to take a back seat. It just is what it is. So there's a lot of opportunities for guys to go up in the pecking order. I don't really think anybody should be like solidified as like, hey, you're guaranteed first option here. Like, there shouldn't be any of that on this roster currently. But throughout the year, it could definitely change. That's the only thing that's holding me back from being really excited. I completely understand that, but my only thing that I just will say to counter is, hey, if Buzelis is going to be this good, if he's going to just easily average 25 a night, which again, it's one game, I'm just throwing that sort of option out there where he's suddenly you're one of your more consistent scorers, like him and Kobe, for example, then there's going to have to be a change in who gets the ball. It's just how it's going to have to go. Like, Giddey's just have to get less touches, and I think that's fine. You're gonna have to find a better balance then. The most improved should only be for fourth season onwards for players, or at least third. I mean, I already kind of, I know you weren't here, Charles, but I was already talking about in previous streams, like, if Buzelis is gonna win most improved, like, he's gonna have like an incredible year, because of such stuff like this. Like, he could average like 16 and 8, and I still don't think he would win most improved, right? He'd have to average like 20 plus and like 9 and like 2.5 blocks a game or something like that. So yeah, I don't think he'll win it, but to have the goal in his head, like, I want to improve that hard, like that much this season compared to what he did last season, to even be just in the discussions, right, of most improved, right? Then I appreciate that sort of mindset. Like, that sort of mindset is good from Buzelis, because he's going to be pushing himself to the limit to try to get better, to, just see if he can even start the discussion, like, hey, like, does he maybe deserve it? I don't think he'll get there. I don't think he's going to get there this season in terms of actually being in contention of most improved, but to have the mindset to do it, I think is a good thing. That's where I'm always looking at when it comes to these guys. And getting to look to score tonight was the issue, yes. I mean, he looked to score twice on Jarrett Allen and got nowhere. After that, though, he had a nice drive in transition, which I appreciate. He needs to do more of that. He took the 3-point shots when he was open, which was good. Like, I don't care about the misses. Like, I appreciate he took them. So again, it's always, to me, once again, it's scoring for Giddey. It's never gonna be, hey, was his passing good or whatever. Like, he's gonna have turnovers, but he's gonna have good passes. We typically can rely on his rebounding, right? Especially defensive rebounding. But to me, it's always gonna be like, as much as I appreciate you doing those other things, if you're gonna be the main ball handler, scoring's gotta be a thing. You have to score consistently. That's just not a discussion for me. You have to score consistently. And again, it's one preseason game. I'm not gonna be like, all right, he's not scoring enough. Like, one game. I won't be shocked if he goes out and scores like 16 the next game, right? But if we get into the season and he's averaging like 12, points per game, then I'm gonna say it's not enough. We can't have that. And then I want Kobe, and if Buzelis is gonna take a leap, then I want those guys to have the ball instead. This is just always a discussion. It's always what I've said. I think the Bulls did a good job of paying Giddey. Like, I wanted him back, but I also thought they caved in at the last moment, and they gave him too much at the very end. They didn't have to. He got treated by far the nicest out of all the restricted free agents. The Bulls did him a favor. So the Bulls are all in on this guy, pretty much. So, like, we gotta see it, man. Not driving enough, I agree. Giddey's ceiling is 15, 10, and 9. If that's the ceiling, then I don't think it's enough. Like, that he would have to, like, if he's doing that, if he's putting up 15, 10, and 9, and he's like the third quote unquote option, or just a role player, or like a starter, but like, not one of your main two scorers, sure, that's a very impactful player if he's able to do that when he's more off ball. But if he's doing that on ball as the guy with the most possessions, per game, then that's just not enough. I'm sorry. That's gonna have to be the discussion, right? If you guys didn't know the stat, Giddey, if you didn't, so post All-Star break, I think it was, I'll double check the tweet, but post All-Star break, Josh Giddey had the most possessions per game, only behind Nikola Jokic. Okay, so if you're gonna have more possessions than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander per game, then you have to score. You just have to. I'm sorry, you just have to score. I can't have you having the most, like, more possessions than Jalen Brunson per game, and you're not putting up scoring numbers. I can't have that. It's just not enough from you. I don't care if you're gonna go and give me 14, 10, and 10. That's nice. It's effective. But if you're getting possessions, like more possessions than 2 all-star caliber guards and one is an MVP candidate, then it's not enough. I need you to score. It's just plain and simple. And he got paid, right? Like, he got his money. So if there's any sort of discussion about this now, I'm like, hey, he got his money. He has to show up now and show that, you know, March, April, and, you know, February that we saw last season, like, that was not a fluke. So I got to see it, right? Again, I'm not going to be judging off one game. It's preseason, and it's just like, all right, we're preseason, and I wouldn't be shocked if he's just taking it easy, trying to get his bearings underneath him, get some good, you know, good runs up and down the floor, get his conditioning back up. Great. I'm totally fine if you're doing that in preseason, but come regular season, right? That's where it all starts. The Giddey assisted Buzelis first half was prime, and the Bulls run was 2 gorgeous ones. Oh, which one? Oh, I know he threw one to the corner for Buzelis for a 3-point shot. I remember that one. I'm trying to remember any others. I guess it was in the end of the second quarter. I might have forgotten it. Which that was a fantastic pass from Giddey to the corner for Buzelis in the first quarter. That was a good pass. If Zach starts, I think the team generally would be better for having slightly better defense and better transition play, even if less spacing. I definitely think there's an argument for it. It just matters, again, what Vooch's percentages are going to be. Like, if Vooch is going to shoot 40% from 3-point range, I think the team will be better with Vooch out there. If he's not, though, if he's going to shoot like 32%, then yeah, I think starting Collins is definitely will be the better option. But we'll see what happens here. Yeah, Giddey was clearly pulled because it's preseason. We didn't really get to see him, so I'm cool not talking about it. Yeah, I'm, you know, he didn't play in the second half. Like, I'm totally fine with what he did today. Like, it is what it is. Yeah. If once again, I just want to make it clear. Like, if I seem not impressed by him, like, if you want me to be impressed with his 5 assists, I'm sorry, I'm just not. For me to be impressed by him, he needs to score. That's just how my standard is with him, and it is what it is. So we'll move on though. Other thing I want to show you guys from the Buzelis clips, because Buzelis, I mean, I showed you the 3 major clips from the second half, which was these 3 clips I'm just so excited about when it comes to him. But I do want to show you one more that I think is just a nice sign from him. And it's going to be around here. To watch. So once again though, inbound pass, and it goes to Buzelis because Giddey's being guarded heavily here, right? So they took away the Giddey inbound. So here's your second. Right now, again, without Kobe, this is your secondary ball handler right now for the Bulls, which is really cool. It's really cool to see that for a sophomore in Buzelis. So this is just, again, it's just understanding how to effectively get your defenders off balance, right? And so good job getting it past half court. You got the crossover onto DeAndre Hunter. You got the step on him, right? So you got past your first defender, which is always the main thing, right? He got past DeAndre Hunter, who's honestly a pretty decent defender, right? He's also going with his non-dominant hand, which is a good sign too. But now you have to face the defensive player of the year at the rim this time. So instead of him being out on the perimeter against you, you have to face the defensive player of the year at the rim, right? And so what do you do against him? He's a 7'1", absolutely lengthy guy that can block shots at will. Okay, what do you do, right? And watches what Buzelis does to get him off balance. He messes up Mobley's timing by taking just an extra second when he gathers, and it makes Mobley miss his timing to be able to block the shot. Okay, right? This little extra fake, right, as he gathered, that little extra drag step that we like to call when marketing kind of did it, it got Mobley to jump early. And so now Buzelis doesn't have to go through Mobley's chest to finish this layup off, right? And he gets this layup underneath Mobley after he's coming back down. This is it, right? These are the things to the advancement level of Buzelis with his on-ball scoring capabilities. If he's able to like find ways like this to get through the shot blockers, like I mean, once again, Brad, like it's so exciting just to think of what he can potentially become. It's early, but there are just so many great signs, man. From what we saw from Buzelis tonight. So that's the biggest things for Buzelis. I want to show a couple other things with this Bulls offense tonight if you guys want to, if you guys are here for it and with the video breakdown. Another thing I really like seeing from Matas when he made the dumb mistake and let the ball go when he rebounded and didn't lose confidence at all and shot a three as soon as he got it. Next, yeah, like that pull-up three-point shot was after he missed the rebound off a missed free throw by the Cavs, and immediately next possession he got it and pull-up three-point shot in Mobley's face. Like that's incredible. That drag step was elite, not gonna lie. Yeah, this is it, bro. If he's gonna do this, man, I'm so excited to see what he's gonna do this year. But yeah, we have to wait. First game in the preseason. I'm sure the Cavs were definitely not going 110% tonight. There's no way in hell. They're playing it smart. So yeah. What do you think of the block that saved the game with .3? Can he impact more defensively? Oh, you're talking about Dalen Terry's block at the end of the game here. So I think Terry overall he had a pretty rough game. So let's watch this in real time here. Oh, sorry, that's Yuki's three-point shot. So I honestly, first and foremost, I don't know what Thomas Bryant is doing here. He just wants to take the last shot very clearly. But good job by Terry to pick up the ball. This is good by Terry just to make sure the ball doesn't get like ahead of steam. Picked up the ball and he's facing a bigger guy in Thomas Bryant, and I don't really know what Bryant's doing here, but Terry stayed in front of him the entire time. Bryant gets a little bit of a step on him. Terry recovers, and he goes up, times it really nicely, gets the block shot. I do think it hit this part here, which is the reason why there was more time added. Because if you watch the ball, like it pretty much. Oh, actually, it might have been this actually what they counted, but yeah, Terry, he had a lot of rough moments on offense today. Defensively, he also wasn't doing enough for me tonight. Where I'm like, hey, I see you actively getting through the screens, being a good point of attack defender, being active with your hands. We know he has the physical tools to do so. It's just the consistency factor is just a problem with him. It was interesting to see though with Billy Donovan that he brought Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry in before Patrick Williams even played a minute. Patrick Williams didn't even see floor time until the start of the second quarter, and we saw both Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry in the first quarter. So I don't really know what exactly we're going to be seeing from Terry this year. We did see a kind of a jump in three-point shooting from him last season, but I'm not like convinced like he's going to be a good three-point shooter. But if he's ever going to get playing time, and especially with the Bulls' luck, there's going to be injuries, right? I mean, hell, Kobe's out right now. If he's going to be getting playing time, then like stuff like this is going to be where he's going to have to get his playing time or earn his playing time. And so I'm hoping that he can show he can be a good, versatile point of attack defender, but I didn't really see it tonight. Again, one game though. I don't want to judge based off just one game, but there's definitely areas like this where I'm like, hey, you know, you got a block on like a 6'10" guy, right? Like that's honestly a pretty impressive block by him. Like, I'm not gonna take anything away from his block tonight, but there's a lot he still needs to clearly work on. But the problem is that it's year 4 for him, so I don't really know how much I can trust him at the end of the day. Yeah, so again, fantastic block. I think it's honestly a really impressive block by Dalen Terry at the end there. I hope that this season we'll see more consistency out of him on both ends of the floor, but it's gonna be rough for him. I think like his inconsistency defensively. Like we saw some moments I think where Billy was kind of pissed off at like one of the groups he was in. And I think he was kind of part of it. He kind of like gambled on like a screen, and it's just like we don't need that. Like I need you just to play solid defense, right? DT struggles offensively every time against the Cavs. He doesn't respect people's strengths. Like his first shot today, he tried to get like a reverse layup, and it just was wild because he didn't account for the shot blocker. It's just like, yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of rough moments from DT on offense still that it doesn't give me enough hope to get him on the floor consistently. Yeah, I'm hoping, man. Like DT, he seems to be like a great guy, and you know they love him in the locker room and everything. But he unfortunately has not turned into what I thought he could become. When the Bulls did draft him, I appreciated like his, his a lot of his defensive attributes, and I was like, hey, yeah, like I think his passing could be something. He had some on-ball capabilities at Arizona, but it wasn't that much. But it's just on offense, he's just such a detriment right now that it just isn't worth it for now. But we have a lot of chances right now in the season, so hopefully he'll figure it out, man. Yeah, I'm interested to see if he can find ways to either clean up his dribble or just be a better back cutter, or just cutting within the offense, be a better screener. If he can't figure that out, then I don't know how he gets on the floor, honestly. Defensively, he's had some nice moments in his career. He can guard like 1 through 3 pretty well if he actually locks in. Gets through the screens, yeah. Like DT, I think his success is based completely on how and when he's deployed. Like, it matters like matchup wise, right? Like if he's in like in the game against like a smaller, like let's say the opposing team's going like small, right? Like you throw DT out there, he's gonna be able to keep up with the pace. He's gonna be able to keep up with the switching, right? He'll try to get some deflections in that sort of game. Yeah, I can definitely see him having more success there. But in a game where there's two bigs consistently on the floor, and both of them are insane shot blockers, and there's a lot of just other really good defenders out there that are lengthier and bigger than him. It's gonna be a rough time. Yeah. It's gonna be a little bit of a rough time for him, especially in the offensive end. Defensively, I think last season where I thought he took a pretty big step was like guarding the like smaller guards. Like I think he did a pretty good job against those guys last season. And for like, I know it sounds like he should be able to guard those guys consistently, but he's like 6'7", and so like a 6'3" really fast guy is like not always the easiest guy to guard when you're 6'7". But I think DT did a pretty good job of guarding those types of guys last season. So yeah, if we're playing a small team, then I would definitely not be opposed to throwing him out there and see what he can do. Especially if there's like no rim protector. But like, yeah, if he's against the Twin Towers in Cleveland, it's gonna be rough. I think it'll be a rough time for him. But that's why the coaches will decide when he gets to actually play or not. All right. I want to talk about a couple of plays here that I thought was interesting to watch as the Bulls got into their offense tonight. Actually, I wrote down a couple of things. After we go through some of the plays on offense, I want to talk about some of the physicality that I thought was pretty good defensively, and show what I thought was bad defensively early on by the Bulls. But just show like, hey, because like in my preseason video, the biggest thing was the physicality talk. We didn't see a lot of it early on, right? But we did see some of it later, which I think is good. So let me talk about this action here. So for all you guys that talk about Isaac Okoro, like, we talk about how like we liked how you moved tonight. Let me show you this play here. So this is what we call zoom action, okay? And I think, unfortunately, there weren't enough guys on this Bulls roster to take advantage of like zoom action. And maybe Okoro can potentially become something that it's like, yeah, like, hey, he can be a guy to take advantage of zoom action. So when I say zoom action, what does this mean? Okay, so this Bulls offense is always a 5-out offense, and you can just very clearly tell by just seeing that all 5 guys are behind the 3-point line. This is your typical set on offense. Okay, now within this set, there's a lot of things the Bulls have done within these sets. There's a lot of different plays that we'll get into as the season goes on throughout the year, and I'll be kind of breaking down these a little bit more in depth compared to last season, because I took the time this offseason to really kind of look at the Bulls offense and like understand it more. And so this is kind of the start of it. Okay, so what is zoom action? So zoom action is something where we see the initial ball handler is going to come up here and he's going to pass it off to the center. Okay, and which is usually, you see the center in a 5-out offense, they're usually always here. Okay, they're usually at the top of the key always, at least at the start of the play. Okay, so this is going to be Vooch. You're going to see Buzel's going to throw the ball over to Vooch. As that happens, okay, you're going to see then Trey Jones here, or whoever is in the slot. This is what we call the slot player, okay? He is going to come down and set a pin down for the guy in the corner, okay? And so you're going to see as Vooch catches this ball, you're going to see Trey Jones come down and set a pin down for then Isaac Okoro to come up here. And as all this is happening, as after Vooch catches the ball, you're gonna see Vooch come on over and then hand off the ball to Isaac Okoro coming off the pin down. The reason why we call it zoom action is because the guy in the corner is pretty much zooming off of this pin down pick here and coming to the ball, right? So that's why this is called zoom action. So as we see here, we see the ball is going to be thrown to Vucevic, and then Trey Jones is going to come on down. He's going to set the pin down. Vooch is going to come over and take a dribble and hand it off to Isaac Okoro. This is classic zoom action, okay? And Isaac Okoro, as you can see here, Trey Jones did a good job picking off Donovan Mitchell. I don't know what the hell the defense is from the Cavaliers here, but Okoro has been trying to work on that three-point shot. He's been, a guy that's been, especially in Cleveland, kind of relegated to the corners, but if he can find a way to consistently work on these sort of shots here and come off the zoom action and get the little handoff and be a three-point threat, hey, like, this is potentially a good sign. He misses the shot. I'm totally fine, though. He took it when he was open, as he should. But he just happened to miss it. Now, reason why I think someone like him could be effective in this spot is because of Okoro's, what we saw earlier with his cutting ability in this game, right? Like, let's say, for example, ball gets thrown here, pin down, come on, and here comes Okoro from over here. Vooch then decides to, I'm going to hand it off to you, but then instead of Okoro shooting it, he just decides to, I'm going to take the pick from Vucevic and go to the basket, right? This allows Isaac Okoro an easier drive to the basket from the top of the key compared to if he's trying to do a one-on-one drive or trying to run a pick and roll. That's, just him trying to initiate everything, right? This sort of like actions just kind of off of, off ball movement, strong side to weak side, ball movement, right? And so instead of maybe Okoro shooting a three-point shot, he can then just drive to the rim, right? Hopefully he can kind of get that in his arsenal. I don't really know how much I trust his ball handling still, though. So, like, even if just a simple drive, like with his offhand to the basket here, I do have some doubts. But I'm hoping to kind of see this sort of stuff. But either way, though, props to, Trey Jones for sending a good pick here, but props to Okoro for doing this right. New offense for Okoro, new team. Like, he very clearly looked like he knew what he was doing here. This is a good sign. So, I just want to go ahead and show you guys this because this is something I noticed, throughout the third quarter. It's like, hey, there's some zoom action here for Okoro, and he got a three-point look out of it. If he can knock this down, this is a pretty nice arsenal to have if you're the Bulls here. But, yeah, I'm looking to see how Okoro's going to be doing, especially with the three-point shots that's above the break. So when we talk about above the break, we're talking right here where it breaks from being the corner to where it's, a curved three-point line. This is going to be where I'm always going to be looking to see what Okoro does because he doesn't, in his career, he hasn't taken that many from this area. He shot all right from here last season on like pretty decent volume, but previous years it wasn't great. So like these sort of shots here are always going to be the ones I'm going to be looking at from Okoro. Can he hit these consistently? That's going to be the biggest thing for me. Hope you guys enjoyed that breakdown though. That's something that I like that. I really wish we had a proven shooting coach. I don't know what the hell happened with Peter Patton and that whole thing. It does piss me off that the Bulls did whatever they did. But yeah, not great. All right, hold on. Sorry, I'm recovering still from everything. Sorry about the cough. One thing I like tonight of Okoro and Asenge, it looked like they both could be good at drawing fouls. Okoro may draw fouls for us like DeRozan did. Oh, interesting. So I do not think Okoro will obviously be at the level of drawing fouls like how DeRozan is. Like DeRozan is one of the masters at drawing contact, and DeRozan was also like he drew so many fouls like in the mid range. It's kind of insane just off the pump fake. I don't think Okoro will be drawing fouls in that sort of fashion. However, I do agree with you though that I do think Okoro will be forcing the defense to maybe foul him on his like back cuts, right? When he does cut hard to the basket. I do think that with his physicality, like with his build, he will be probably drawing some fouls. With the way that he's able to cut hard and get some good positioning. That will be something definitely to look at. For Okoro, if he can maybe increase his free throw rate, which I don't really have much faith in him doing such a thing, especially because he's an off-ball player. Like, for you to increase your free throw rate as an off-ball player is pretty difficult. But yeah, I hope that we see maybe some sort of leap from him like that. That'd be great. He's able to do such a thing. As a play stop for White or Herter, not necessarily. It's you see this play actually a lot from a lot of people, and they're not always just shooters. ideally they should be like all ball handlers, right? So like that's kind of where it's like it's interesting to see maybe if a Coral can work on that ball handling here. Because like Trey Jones obviously is a pretty decent ball handler. He's just not a 3-point shooter, so it makes sense for him setting the screen. Okoro though just isn't the best ball handler, so like can he work on that part to add another element to this whole thing? But yeah, I'm hoping to see if he can maybe do that. But I think you can run this play for Buzelis, like same action, right? Like instead of having a Okoro in the corner over here, right? Like you have Buzelis here, and maybe Giddey comes on down and he sets the screen, and Buzelis comes up in this action, right? So I think it's a pretty open scenario, open sort of play for anybody. It doesn't have to necessarily be a more of a shooter or shooting guard like White or Herter necessarily. Yeah, I think it's honestly pretty open. I think a lot of guys can kind of run this sort of action, which is why it's a pretty decent option in the 5-out offense that we're running. Yeah, that's that. Other plays. Let me see if I'm able to find this other play here. I wrote it down, but I'm not entirely sure if it was. I just kind of did a question mark because I'm like there was so much going on that I just kind of like wrote a question mark in the middle of it. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, honestly, I don't know why I wrote that down. Yeah, I wrote down 230 in the first quarter, and I put it in the offensive category. That was not what. That's not an offensive play. This is a defensive possession, clearly. So my bad. Let me just see if I can find another thing I want to talk about really quickly. Honestly, let's just go to the first play of the game, and let me just see if I can break it down for y'all. See what the Bulls run at first play of the game. So down screen into then. All right. So other part of the 5-out offense. So this is actually kind of interesting to watch this. So I'll just break down the first play of the game here just to talk about what the Bulls are kind of trying to do. So this is a down screen by Vooch, and then Herter comes up to the top of the key here. So like this is like always like the potential of like, oh hey, like Herter could potentially shoot this, and then after Herter gets the ball here, then like Vooch can maybe set a screen here, right? There's always like that potential. So initial down screen by Vooch, right, to get Herter up to the slot here. After that though, you see what we call stagger away, okay? And so these are stagger away screens, which means that they're gonna come over for the guy in the corner and set 2 screens here, and they're facing away from the ball handler, right? And that's the reason why we call it stagger away. And so here we go. Here comes Giddey and Vucevic to come over and set the screens here. And so here comes Buzelis off the stagger away action, right? And as this is happening, pay attention to a Coral. I like this here. I like seeing this. So here comes Buzelis off of that action, and this is kind of where I'm hoping to maybe see Buzelis kind of show like his offensive prowess here and improvement, because like I would like for him, if possible, to be able to turn the corner here. He decided to pull it out though, which I don't blame him. It's Jarrett Allen. Back it back out. All right, and so then we just run then just simple handoff, sort of just simple handoff here and in the slot, and just see if we get any sort of offense out of it. And unfortunately ends up being a turnover because Herter doesn't make a good pass out of it. But that's just kind of like, it's just consistently where you're going to see like in the 5-out offense from the Bulls, and I'm happy to be kind of seeing it. That sort of like these sort of elements that I think, especially early on in the year, it wasn't that great from the Bulls to see like consistent 5-out like sort of sets. I don't necessarily always need it to be like a set play from the Bulls, but I definitely need to see the action and not as much standing around. We definitely saw some standing around that first quarter a little bit too often, but hopefully you can get rid of that and just have consistent action on the offensive end. I can see Mobley becoming the next Chris Bosh if he can continue to hit threes at a consistent basis. I mean, I'd already argued that he's probably a better defender than Chris Bosh. I mean, like, defensive player of the year last season. I mean, yeah, if he can hit the three on a consistent basis, like, I already think of the world when it comes to Evan Mobley. Like, Mobley's a very, very good player. And I honestly think that if the Cavs are going to ever become, like, a legitimate threat in being a title contender, like, I think he has to become the best player for the Cavs. That does not mean the best scorer, okay? Like, I think Mitchell is going to continue to be the best scorer for the team. But I think that you're gonna have to look at Mobley as being like, you're gonna have to be like the secondary scorer as well as the best defender on the squad, which makes you like the best overall player. And I think he has that ability. Like, we saw in this game, like, he was stepping into 3-point shots. We saw a 4-5 pick and roll with him and Allen. Let me pull it up if I can. It was definitely third quarter. I had to look through this here. But like, I was just like shocked at just what I saw. I was just like, what the hell? Like, I just saw a 4-5 pick and roll, and Evan Mobley shot a 3. Yeah, here we go. Like, that's something that Chris Bosh was never able to do, right? Like, Chris Bosh was never able to like shoot a pull-up 3-point shot off the dribble, which is why I'm like, I think Mobley has the chance to be better than him. I mean, like, yeah, let's watch this play. Like, this is a 4-5 pick and roll, bro. Like, this is like, I understand that like we did that earlier with Buzelis and Vucevic, but like Buzelis has like a little bit more of like people talk about him being like a small forward. Like, this is a 7'1" guy in Mobley here that was just the defensive player of the year, and again, very clearly play center. And we're running a 4-5 pick and roll slip screen, and the Bulls switch it as they should, but like Mobley's just pulling up from here. I'm like, dear Lord, if this guy is starting to take pull-up 3-point shots off the dribble, off the pick and roll screens, I'm just like, God, bro. Good luck, league, yes. But he didn't knock it down, so maybe we're not in trouble just yet. But yeah, I really think Mobley is gonna probably become the best player on the Cavs if he's able to put it all together. And he'll probably be the biggest reason why the Cavs go anywhere. Guys, the Cavs have had some pretty disappointing playoff success with this current core. And look, I'm the biggest Mitchell fan. Like, I didn't have my channel back then, but I was always telling people when Donovan Mitchell was in that draft, bro, like, I was talking to David, who's been on this channel. Like, I said like, Mitchell's gonna be good. I didn't think he was gonna be this good. Like, I didn't think Mitchell was gonna become like a 27 point per game scorer. I did not think he's gonna become like that. But I was a big fan of him. Like, I thought the Bulls had a chance to draft him because the Bulls had the 15th overall pick in that draft. But Mitchell rose his stock to being in the lottery. Anyway, though, just showing you that I love Mitchell. I think Mitchell's an incredible player. However, I think that if the Cavs are going to have success, like, Mobley has to be your best player. Like, he just has to be. I think Mitchell can still be your best scorer, but Mobley's going to have to be, like, a consistent, like, 20-plus point per game scorer and be the best defender on the floor, making impact plays everywhere. And if he can do stuff like this, like what we just saw, running a pick and roll, 4-5 pick and roll with Jarrett Allen, it's just like, dear Lord. That's great. That's a great improvement from him. So yeah, I would love to see if he can be able to do stuff like this for the Cavs' success, but we will see. The Cavs, like, if there's ever a year for the Cavs, bro, it's this year. No Tatum, no Halliburton. The Bucks are in disarray right now. Like, this is the year. Like, it's them and the New York Knicks from last season of the teams that had any sort of playoff success. Like, it's those two teams. That I'm like, hey, like, you should be at the top of the Eastern Conference here. I do think like the Pistons, the Magic, and maybe even Atlanta have a shot of, like, you know, jumping up in the standings here. But like, if there's ever a year where it's going to be a pretty simple path for you guys, it's going to be this year for the Cavs, man. So yeah, I agree. But to be fair, I don't really think too much of Mitchell. That's fine. Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of people don't like the really small scoring guard. And I definitely understand that if you think like, hey, like, I don't think Mitchell could be the best player on a championship level squad. Like, I would agree with you on that. With that being said, though, I think that's the reason why I'm saying, like, hey, Mobley has to be the best player for the Cavs to be a championship caliber team. Mitchell can still score. It will. Like, I want Mitchell to always be scoring. But Mobley's gonna have to take that step to be like, he's clear cut. Like, he has, like, by far the best value, best player. aura around him. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. We'll see the Cavs again on Thursday, so we'll get to see maybe some more action from Mobley and others to see where the Cavs are. It's good to see Lonzo Ball, by the way, out there playing. I don't really think he had that good of a game, honestly. The Bulls kind of locked him down. Yeah, he shot 0 for 4 today. Had some pretty weird misses, but yeah. I also really like what I saw from Asenge. He looked like he might be a legit scoring threat. Yeah, I guess we can move on to Asenge, honestly. After we talk about Asenge here, I want to talk about a little bit of the defense and just show you what I want from like physicality standpoint. Yeah, so Asenge, I think, honestly did pretty good today. I know that there's some people that were probably a little bit disappointed with what they saw, and I think the biggest thing that sticks out in their heads was that open floor turnover. That obviously needs to get worked out. But Asenge, like I talked about a little bit earlier in the stream, I don't know if you were here, Viper Strike, but the reason why I was so drawn to him was just because of his feel. Like, his feel for the game is very clearly there. He understands where to take up space, and he's coming from a different style of league, right? And he's already seems to kind of adjusted to like the NBA tempo and NBA sort of floor game plans. Like he seems to kind of just get it. But the biggest thing for me was just like he was crashing the offensive glass and showing a lot of activity, right? And that's what we want. This is what we want to see from a guy like Asenge, to show like, hey, I'm going to be active. I'm going to be looking to find ways to get in the play even if I don't have the ball in my hands. That's what we want, right? And so we'll go to this play here where it was honestly I was almost, I thought Asenge was gonna throw it down, but by the way, once again, stagger. Here comes Javon Carter from the corner, so stagger away action. And so you see Asenge once again just does a good job, right? And he misses this shot here, right? I think first and foremost, I'm glad that he took the shot. He did the proper spacing. Like when Jalen Smith moved down, then Asenge took his space, right? And then he took the shot here. By the way, this jump shot from him is a little bit different from what we've been seeing. He's a little bit more straight overall. Sorry, that's a terrible line. But he's a little bit more straight with his body, which is a good sign. There's a little bit less of a leg kick going in. From what I saw from him today, but it's also like a little bit of a different motion, which I'm gonna have to watch a little bit more film on it, but I definitely saw some differences. But he misses this shot, but offensive rebound here. But watch, he doesn't just stand around, right? He decides, oh, hey, we got the offensive rebound. I'm gonna go and make myself available to be a cutter in this sort of instance, to get the ball back. And just with his sheer length and athleticism, he is going to draw so many fouls from these sort of situations that we just saw right here, okay? This is what I love from him. Like, his length and athleticism forces the defense to make a very big decision of whether just to let him go or we have to foul him, right? And he found his way to the free throw line just from sheer activity alone. Just being active, staying engaged in the play, and moving well within the floor. Like, this all it takes, like, IQ of understanding of how to take up space correctly in the floor. And he's shown that early on in his career. We saw the first play of his game, where he came off the stagger action, which was around here, I think it was, right? Is he in here? Oh, okay, we're still at Dylan Terrian. Right, here we go. Yeah. So, like, once again, though, like, how is he gonna fit into this Bulls offense, right? So here comes Yuki, and we're gonna see here Dagger. Okay, so pass to Patrick Williams. Okay, and you're gonna see both Yuki and Collins come over and set stagger away screens here for a second to come off of, and he does a good job coming off of it and then curling, right? He understands that, hey, the defender did not go under the screen here, because if he did go under the screen, then there's no reason to curl, right? You don't go to the basket. But he recognized that his defender went over the screen, and if that's what your defender does, and you understand your defender's trailing you, then you gotta take the curl and try to get to the rim. And he does just that, put it on the floor, and was able to finish, right? and you know the and one was for Collins and not for him. But this is good. Like all this is great. Like this is good signs already from a guy that's 18 years old and has not, you know, been fully built into his body just yet. Like this is really good signs. So I think what we saw from Senge was good today. He hit a 3 today, which was good to see. We saw some good activity on the offensive rebounds. I think he had 3 offensive rebounds in this game. He had 4 free throws attempted. He made 3 of them, which is good. 5 total rebounds, which is, and just staying active, right? And how many minutes did he play? He played a total of 13 minutes, and he had 5 rebounds. Yeah, 5 rebounds and 8 points, right? Like, hey, good start, y'all. This is just good signs from him. So, a lot to work on. Let me show you obviously the bad play from him. Like he had a very bad play that was, you know, not good to see. But hey, it's early in his career. I'm not going to be squeaking out over this sort of play from him. Let's see. I forgot it was before the break. That's right. Sorry about my cough. All right. So block, right? He gets the ball and he's pushing it, right? And I know some people were maybe thinking like, why wasn't he going like full out speed here? I actually like that he did slow down because I think that there's definitely a world if he goes full out speed that like he like gets like an offensive foul in this sort of situation or like completely messes up the possession. But he slowed himself down. And he got control of the basketball, but then you see then the steal attempt here, which I'm gonna look at this now, like the replay for the first time, to see if there was actually a foul here. But like if you're wondering, like, can he make it from like he picked up his dribble here? Like, can he make it? He can. Like I've seen it enough where like he has the length to pick up his dribble where he picked it up and still make it to the rim on 2 steps. But yeah, there's maybe an argument for a foul there. But either way, though, it's the whole, like, hey, we got to work on that ball control so that it isn't as loose for it to look like a potential just, yeah, you just got it completely ripped from you here. But again, that's something that's going to come later down the road for him. The fact that he has really good feel for the game already is a good sign for me. And I'm pleased with what I saw today. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do this year. What I like from him is how he dribbles into traffic. Big lanky guys always have loose dribbles, but his is tighter and pulls to shoot the right moments to draw fouls. Right, I mean, we saw him in his first shot attempt where like he really just drew the foul just again because of his length and athleticism. Like, yeah, that is definitely something with him. Like the reason why I love the stagger is because like I do think that allows him to get the best line drive to the basket in the half court and get him those sort of opportunities to get those fouls drawn with his dribble. His dribbling is still loose. It definitely still needs work, but he does have that sort of body and build to where that even though there is some loose dribbling right now, like he still is able to show signs of getting to the rim consistently and then just forcing the defense to make a decision. So that's why it's like there's just so many things that I'm intrigued by with him. I'm really looking to see what exactly he can fully become once he cleans up his dribbling ability. Yeah, I'm looking forward, man. I think Jalen Smith's 3-point shot has left him or is leaving him. He needs to go back to being inside scorer. So I will say that his 3-point shot has definitely been more inconsistent than I thought it would be with the Bulls. But I also think that he just hasn't gotten consistent playing time, especially once Collins got here. But yeah, he's gonna have to find that. The inside scoring ability for Jalen Smith hasn't always been great. Like he's had some years where it hasn't been the best. I would like to see him be more ready for pick and roll like spots because I saw Yuki try to pass it to him twice off the roll and he just wasn't ready. He's gonna have to definitely work on that a little bit to work on his slip screens and get some more inside looks and get some floater shots going. But yeah, the 3-point shot would definitely be better if he can find that again. Not gonna lie, Yuki in a second might make me want to go see Windy City Bulls game. I'm actually, honestly, Viper Strike, I'm with you. If we know like that Senge will be sent down and kind of be there for a little bit, and obviously Yuki's gonna be probably down there for most of the season, like I'm definitely down to go and, you know, go see him in person and yeah, that's gonna be played. Like that'll be a fun time to go to the Windy City Bulls and watch them play. I play Noah more than Pat, Will, and Smith. I mean, I don't blame you, honestly, CM Sharp. Like, if I was personally the coach, I'd be playing Asengi at least 20 minutes a game. Like, I would be kind of with you. I would probably be playing Asengi over Smith and Patrick Williams right now for sure. The thing is, though, is that I'm not the coach. I only care about the future of the squad. I don't really care about the now. Billy Donovan and the front office very clearly care about the now, and they want to win games this season. Yeah, I'd be with you. If I was 100% the coach, then I'm playing Noah Asengi like 20 minutes a night. He doesn't have to start, but he's playing 20 minutes a night for me. Obviously, that's not going to happen this season. There's too many guys in the rotation, too many guys in the depth chart ahead of him, and the Bulls want to win, and he's definitely not a win now player. But yeah, I'm really hoping that we get to see him at least towards the end of the season. Like, I don't always want to hope for like losing for this Bulls team, but I kind of do. Part of me does kind of hope that like the early season doesn't go well, and then like come like trade deadline, like after like the trade deadline kind of area where like we make some sell-off decisions as we should, right? Then like it opens up some opportunities for just to play a second game and just play all the young guys. Like for example, like do I think Kevin Huerter needs to be on this squad moving forward? I don't. He's a guy that is, to me, a more win-now player and can definitely go help a contender if his three-point shot is there and ready. But trading his contract is, I don't know how easily that's going to happen. But with that being said, like if I was the front office, I'd be looking to trade Kevin Huerter and open it more playing time for the younger players. But I'm not the front office. But anyway, though, if the Bulls kind of have like a really like losing record and they have like a sell-off, then I hope to then see Asengi be playing like, 15 minutes a night or something like that at post-trade deadline. But I don't know. I'm going to be very interested to see what they do. He is a first-round pick at the end of the day, and I do think that first-round picks deserve time in the NBA no matter what. I know Reed Shepherd kind of got absolutely screwed with his situation, but that's also just kind of a weird spot for them. But they really need him right now, so he has a chance here. But I would really like to see Asengi get some NBA minutes this year consistently. I'm hoping it does happen. Because even just this game, I understand it's against all like the third stringers, but like you just kind of see what he can do to like impact the game like right now. And the Bulls are already like, they're kind of missing the offensive rebounding aspect. Like they don't have many offensive rebounders. They don't have that much. Like they have depth in the forward spots, but they don't have the length like Asengi has, right? And so anything to bring in more like rim protection, quote unquote, because I mean, if you guys haven't looked at the stats, the Bulls gave up the most points per game to their opponent out of any team last season. Like they would give up by far the most points per game to their opponent for all the teams. So bringing any sort of rim protection with like someone like Asengi in is just a benefactor, especially at the forward position. So I would play him. I'm not Billy at the end of the day. Yeah, I mean, that bad play, I think that's a good play in 2 years. Like, in 2 years when he controls the ball better, that's an and one. Oh, I completely agree. Like, I think he did a good job slowing down there and looking to try to, like, time his steps. But he got too loose of bringing the ball out too far ahead of him to allow the defender to make a play on the ball, right? The good thing, though, that I liked that I saw is that he didn't bring it down, right? Like, he's obviously taller than that defender, and so he brought it up. He just was too loose with it. So, if you're taller, make sure you always bring the ball up. That's a good thing. But yeah, I do think that maybe it's not 2 years, maybe it's in 3 years for him, because reminder, he's still 18, and so in 3 years he'd be 21. Then that's probably a much more smoothed out play from him. And he'll figure out a way to make sure that's a bucket. Sure. Exciting things today, man. We got exciting things. I want to make it clear, this does not change my view on how I think this Bulls team's going to do record-wise this season. I still don't have much faith in this Bulls defense, even though we saw some good things today. But I do like what I saw, obviously, from Buzelis and others today. We'll talk about Io here right now, especially on the defensive end of the floor. and we'll also have a little bit about his offensive game. And we're gonna. So I know that Razi, I don't know if you're still here. I know that you talked about that you wanted to like talk about like keeping IO. I'm gonna pull up my salary cap spreadsheet and talk about some ideas. If you have not hit the like button on the stream though, please do. Helps me out a lot. Thank you guys for all tuning in. Wow, we're having a really nice stream for the first preseason game of the year. So I'm glad that a lot of you guys were able to watch it. I know that Chicago Sports Network sucks. I'm glad that we were able to. A lot of people seem like they're able to watch it and are interested. So this is good. Also, if you have not joined the Discord, we do have a Discord right now for our community. Viper Strike is in it. So if you're interested in joining our community Discord, link is in the description box of the stream. So please go ahead and join the Discord if you're interested. All right, let's see here. Did I miss your prediction? Because to be honest, I'm higher than over under on their wins. So I'm not giving my official prediction. That will be coming out before the regular season starts. But I have not given it a prediction yet. No. If you're let me just say this. If you're doing the over-under and it's the 35 or the 30 and a half over-under, let me just be clear, mine is over. Because I did see that. I was just like, really? Like, as down as I am when it comes to this Bull squad, I do think they will be winning more than 30 games this year. So I was a little bit shocked to see that number. But I don't know which over-under you're looking at. Because I know that I think there were some over-unders that were like 35 and a half or something like that. That's definitely more intriguing. I'll just say that for sure. But if you're talking about the 30 and a half over-under, I'm definitely taking the over on that. They'll win more than 30 games this year. Yeah. By the way, don't give me your predictions just yet. I want to hear your predictions come like when the season's about to start. I think it's like the proper time for predictions. But if you do want to give it to me right now, that's also fine. But I like to hear the predictions come like I'll have a video and like a stream before the season starts because we have like 6 days before then. I will also have something else probably out that I can't talk about still. When that time comes. So yeah. If you follow my Twitter, you might know what's coming. But I have an announcement coming soon. I just don't know when it's gonna be announced. I thought at the very least I thought it was gonna be announced by Monday, but it has not been announced yet. But yeah, I have announcements coming at some point, at least before the season starts. So that's all I'll say. Be on the lookout. But if you follow my Twitter, you might get a hint of what's going on here. Fun things. Okay, hold on. Let's talk about IO. Because if you either watched the game or didn't watch the game, I think Io DeSumo like behind Buzelis after what Buzelis did in that second half. I think DeSumo had probably the second best game of the night. Maybe honestly, Collins had like a pretty good second half as well. So maybe if you want to count him, there's a decent argument for that. But I think Io did a really good job tonight, especially in that first half, man. Like he didn't really do much in the second half, but that first half from Io was something spectacular from him. So we'll talk about his offense and also his defense. I want to show a couple things he did defensively, especially in the second half, I think. Which was really good to see. Sorry, hold on. I'm all over the place. Oh, yeah, come back. Yeah, I saw the 30. I'm not a betting man, but it seems like an easiest bet. I agree. Yeah, I think if you're a betting person and you see the over under for the Bulls at 30 and a half, I think betting over is a pretty safe bet. Now granted, injuries do happen and Kobe White is out right now, and who knows, like anything can happen in an NBA season. Things change quickly. So yeah, I think that there's always weird things that do happen, but if I was betting just with the Eastern Conference how weak it is, I think it's a safe bet. I do not bet though personally, so if you guys do like to bet, that's your fun times. I do not personally bet though. That's not something I do. All right, hold on. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up something. That's back to here. Let me go and show a couple of plays here from I can't remember. I think it was a Mitchell turnover, but I'll have to double check. 9:21. Okay, yeah, it was, this play was okay. So Io wasn't on the floor, but I get props. So let me just to show what I think is like good physicality by the Bulls team. So first off, bad turnover by us. That was terrible. But hey, like this is Isaac Okoro effect. So he does a good job here of helping out to try to disrupt Mitchell's flow, and we see here Trey Jones also reach in and try to disrupt the ball, and they get the steal. Like this is good physical play. Doesn't always have to be with the body, right? Just being, taking timely swipes and everything like that, taking your proper timings to double team. Like, good job here. I'm trying to find though another turnover though that was pretty horrible by the Cavs, and I know DeSumo was in the game, so I'm trying to find something here. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay. Oh yeah, this is a fun play, by the way. I like this play, that with Trey Jones getting that layup in transition. Let's watch this. So, this is definitely something that I'm going to be talking about or paying attention to a lot this year, is how the Bulls guard this sort of action. So it's similar to kind of how we talked about with that Buzelis where he drew the foul play. This is empty side, right? It's I'm gonna have to double check what this is, because like if God, I forget. If Allen was on this side, setting the screen this way, and Mitchell was going this way, this is empty drag. We call it empty drag because, again, empty corner on this side of the floor. But it's not. It's going this way, so I don't know if it's just like fist side. I don't know what. I have to double check it. But anyway, it's not the top of the key though, right? And the reason why this is an effective play is because there's no one over here to come over and tag or come over and help out on a potential pick and roll. So it's always just something I'm always paying attention to, is like, how do the Bulls guard this? But it especially puts a lot of pressure on the point of attack defender. And Io here does a really good job of getting through the screen and staying attached to DeAndre Hunter's hip and making sure that he doesn't lose contact with him, right? And they get him into a pretty tough spot here. And so Vooch comes over to help with the hedge, and then you see what the Bulls then do. You see Trey Jones comes on over to help. Okoro then dipped in to take away the potential inside look. And then now Vooch is on the recover mode, right? But you see here what Io did defensively along with Vooch. Like, give props to Vooch here as well. But like, this is what we talk about good physicality. Like, it doesn't always have to be getting like the steal or anything like that, but it's just being a good point of attack defender of getting through screens, maintaining contact through the screen, making sure that you force the ball handler to go a certain way. Because if Hunter goes this way, right, and is able to reject the screen, it puts then the defense in absolute disarray, because Vooch is in no man's land to help, right? Vooch is in full out, like, send it mode. I am going to be over on this side to help you out, so make sure you send Hunter this way. If Hunter is able to reject this screen, Vooch is in nowhere close enough to be able to help, right? So, good job by Io in this spot here. Stayed attached through the screen, forced them into the spot where Vooch is, right? And the Bulls are able to force a turnover, because then he's throwing a pretty crazy pass out to Jarrett Allen, which I don't even know if it was supposed to even go to Allen here, but this is where it ends up going. So, like, good job by Io. I wanted to show that and show, like, hey, there were definitely some signs of good physicality that the Bulls have talked about all training camp in this game. Will we consistently see this throughout the season? I have no idea. Especially because, as much as I want to see him play, Kobe is going to get a lot of minutes, and he is not a good defender from what we've seen in his career. So when you have a backcourt starting that are with two guys that are not really the best point of attack defenders, I just kind of question what the level of defensive consistency we're going to see. We saw the defensive consistency kind of rise with the bench unit, which is when like Trey Jones, Io came in, but I do think Okoro could help in the starting unit, but we'll just have to see. Again, one game. Let me show what Io was able to do though, because he got off the scoring and kind of made sure the Bulls kind of stayed in this one, to just kind of keep touch with the Cavs, because it was kind of rough early with what we saw from the Bulls and their turnovers, which, again, I'm not going to talk too much about the turnovers just because I think that the Bulls are going to always turn the ball over with how they play. All right, so here's DeSumo's first shot. This is good to see. I'm just pointing this out just because it's like Io has been a guy to have sometimes done the catch and think, we like to call on this channel, where you catch the ball at the 3-point line and just kind of just think about it and don't make a decision. You don't shoot it, you don't drive it, you don't pass it. You just kind of catch and think it. Here we go though. Typical 5-out screen and roll action. I guess you can argue this is a drag screen, honestly, but we'll see. But Zach Collins decides to slip it, and as Collins decides to slip it over this way, we're going to see Julian Phillips come down instead of pin down for Io to come up to the slot, which is good. I'm loving to see this sort of action because this is the sort of action we need to see from the Bulls, especially on the weak side. This prevents the standing around that a lot of people complain about, which I have thoughts about standing around of it not always being bad, but I won't get too much into it. But anyway, actually, my bad. So Phillips actually decides to cut, and then Io just decides to take the space, which is that's also good too. But we see here then the defense, Lonzo had to come over and tag up on the Phillips cut, which then opens up Io for a 3-point shot. Lonzo's recovering though. Io still just takes it and absolutely drains it, right? No catch and think, just catch it, shoot it, drain it, right? No thoughts about it whatsoever. So this is good. That's the first good sign. And then the next play for Io was a layup that we got to see from him. And this was actually in transition, so this is good from Io as well. Good block by Julian Phillips. He got beat, recovered, got the block, which is good. Ball is thrown to Io, and he pushes it, right? So, I mean, we have 3 guys right here behind the ball, but Io still decides to take it to the defense, which is good. And he is able to kind of use Larry Nance as like his own, like a screener in this sort of sense. Was able to get the step on Porter Jr. though, and then goes and lays it up and in. So, quick start for Io off the bench. This was a good start for Io off the bench. Glad to see them just look comfortable and like look in shape after the shoulder surgery. So I'm hoping we get to keep him around. The last thing I'm going to point out, because he had another layup that I think is pretty nice to see here, is Io's cutting. So Io last season, if I could pull up the stats really quickly. So last season, when it comes to cuts, okay, now the Bulls weren't exactly the best when it comes to running these sort of cut actions consistently, but Io, when he did make a cut, he was one of the best in the league. Okay? Again, it wasn't that frequent. We're talking about 4% frequency, but when he was willing to make these sort of cuts, he was 98th percentile. So just shows you like, hey, he has the potential to like kind of get more out of these sort of cutting actions. And so we're gonna see here if I can get to it. Taking a while, sorry. Okay, that's nope. We need to go second quarter. Good play there, by the way, but I don't want to talk about that. Let's go to. Here we go. There it is. All right, 4:39. So transition play, and so I want to point out what the Bulls did good here in transition. Okay, when we run a 5-out offense, this is typical. Like this is typical how the floor should be spaced. So let's just again watch. We're gonna watch the missed shot here from Lonzo. Bulls get it. Okay. Now pay attention to where everyone is on the floor. Right. You see 2 guys up here. Right. We see then 2 guys here, and then Vooch is trailing in the middle. Okay. This is typical, especially for a center that isn't like isn't as mobile. Right. He should be trailing, but it should always be in the middle, like or usually around the middle area. Okay. Bulls push it ahead though, which is good by Trey Jones, but this is what we call the 45 cut. Right. Io does a really good job of recognizing that Lonzo is just ball watching and decides to back cut Lonzo with the 45 cut because we call this the angle is a 45-degree angle cut here. Also, we could just call this the weak side slot because the ball is on the other side of the floor. So this is the strong side. This is the weak side. The weak side slot is then cutting. This is why I think Io can definitely make some heyday. Right, like do more of this. Dosunmu is already one of the best finishers in the league in his draft class. He's already one of the better finishers in the league as a guard. And so if he's able to find ways to do stuff like this where he finds openings and cutting, like this is where I think he can make some really good finishes. Yeah, I'm gonna be looking to see if he could do more of this stuff. It's also a good showcase of how to use Vooch. Yeah, I also think that like this Bulls offense is like, I know that a lot, like Stacey King and others are talking about like, oh, we gotta post up Vooch though, like once again, if you're new to the channel, I just the post up with Nikola Vucevic is just something I don't want to see. If he has a mismatch, that's different, but like I don't want to be posting up Jarrett Allen with Nikola Vucevic. That just doesn't seem like a winning play. This sort of offense is oriented for a guy like Vooch. He's supposed to be in these sort of actions to be kind of like a decision maker, a little bit of a hub, screener, right? Like he's a big reason why this 5-out offense kind of works is because of his 3-point threat. But also just like the way that he's able to kind of operate at the top of the key and feel comfortable. Like some bigs aren't comfortable with that. Like, yeah, I think that the offense does a decent enough job of implementing Vooch, even if it's not through the posts like how Stacey King and others want to see it. We don't need that. Like, I think Vooch will be fine if he's able to find his timings to get some pick and roll opportunities and score, and just make himself available and hit some jump shots. He'll be good. This Bulls season will depend on development of Montes as maybe the start of the future for the Bulls. Oh, for sure, Woodage, yeah. If you weren't here, I don't think you were here earlier, Woodage, but I did a full-out look at Montes' second half. Like, that third quarter by Buzelis was something incredible from him, so go back in the VOD and watch, man. I'm really excited to see him. I feel like cuts is where the team has to make their mark if they want to do anything with Giddey. I mean, there's that, like, there's an argument for that, but to me, for at least, again, when it comes to Giddey, it's always just have to be the scoring. Like, Giddey can find these cutters for sure. Like, don't get me wrong, but if he's gonna be the main ball handler, I don't really know if like him finding cutters really matters to me. Like, I just need him to score. That's kind of just my, like, if they're ever gonna make a mark with Giddey as a ball handler, he's gonna have to score. Now, if they're gonna make a mark with Giddey as a more of an off-ball sort of guy and maybe throw him in like a Draymond Green type of role on offense, then yeah, for sure. Like, they need to find these, they need to do the cuts and make themselves available for him to throw passes to and finish, right? But that's not what we're doing so far with Giddey. Like, he has the ball, so I don't know. I just look at these things differently, I guess, when it comes to like making the mark with Giddey or not, and how the Bulls currently use him. So, once again, it's just with everybody on this roster, like, you know, I am questioning Giddey for sure, and as I did last season, as like, and I think that's fine. I'm also still questioning Kobe. Like, I've been questioning, like, hey, and Kobe's in a contract year, right? Like, there's people that think he can legitimately become an all-star, and I'm like, I have major doubts. So, just to point out, like, I'm consistently doubting a lot of these players on this current roster. So it's not just Giddey, it's everybody. Yeah, I want to make that clear. I'm not just picking on Giddey. I'm picking on everybody when it comes to this roster and being like, hey, yeah, can he become an all-star? It's not gonna lie, I don't have faith that Buzelis will become an all-star. Today helps a lot. There's definitely some signs, but he needs to obviously go out and show it in the season. Like, he's gonna have to go and do that before I'm gonna have full faith he's gonna suddenly become an all-ball dominant scorer or anything like that. Vooch fighting for his life to get back. I mean, hey, I appreciate him hustling, you know? He's doing his job. Taking my Bulls fandom out of it, I really think winning teams should want Io a lot. I don't think he is the same level as Derek White, but I think he is up there. That's definitely kind of where I place Io personally. Like, I think Io can pretty much kind of fill that sort of role if needed. Can be on-ball or off-ball, can come off the bench or start, can guard 1 through 3. Like, yeah, that's where I do put him. He unfortunately is not the three-point shooter Derek White is. It looks like some years he is, but some years he definitely isn't. But yeah, if he's able to get that 3-point shot down, then He's a very, very effective player. So yeah, that's I really value him a lot. I know that's very discussion. Like a lot of people don't value him that much. I've discussed it a lot with a lot of people that they just think that like he's not that great. But when it comes to role players, I always look at efficiency, and his efficiency even on a down year is still pretty solid. Which means that I'm like, hey, I trust you. If you ever get thrown the ball, you're gonna go and make your shot 50% of the time. You can't always say that about a lot of role players. I just really value that. It's something that I will always value when it comes to this sort of guy. So hence why, yeah, I agree. He is probably a very good player on a contender right now. But we'll see if anyone's going to be willing to trade for him. There's a dudes who do stuff to win when you already have the guy. Yeah, for sure. Like, could Ayo right now go and play? Like, could you see him fitting in with the Oklahoma City Thunder? For sure. Like, I think he absolutely fits in because he has the wingspan to fit in with that Thunder squad, can play off of SGA and Jalen Williams. Like, he fits right in. Can he also then go and play for this Cavaliers team potentially? Like, yeah, I think the Cavaliers need defensive guards, and they can definitely slide right in and be a good defensive guard off the bench, especially because they lost Ty Jerome. You know, I know Lonzo's there, but I've always said Lonzo really isn't a ball handler and ball dominant guard. He's more of a wing. Could Ayo, like, if Houston really wanted to send the absolute package, then yeah, I definitely would be willing to trade him. But I don't think Houston doesn't have the assets or the money right now to do that whole trade. I think Ayo could definitely go on to some contending teams right now and be a pretty impactful player for sure. Yeah, that's why I do think we should be looking at the trade market for him. But with that being said, let me get to. I don't think Razi's still here, unfortunately, but I'm gonna show you what I proposed to Darius on the last stream here. Okay, because I think there's a world where there's a lot of talk right now when it comes to like, okay, what do the Bulls actually do between Kobe and Ayo? Because it seems like Ayo's been in the trade rumors, but Kobe isn't. But like, do you keep Kobe or do you not? There's a lot of that talk right now, and I think it's good talk to have, because I'm not entirely sure either. Like, I like Kobe has always impressed me every year for adding something. Like, he's improved. You know, he got to the 20-point per game mark last season, which I never thought he'd ever be able to get there, but he did. But, you know, should the Bulls heavily invest in him? Because he's going to want, obviously, more than what Giddey just got. And he, I think, has the right to ask for more than that. So, you know, he's a 7-year vet compared to Giddey, who's, you know, at the time was only a 4-year vet when he was asking for his first contract. So, like, I think Kobe has every right to be asking for, you know, 150+ million. Like, I think he has the right to ask for it. I don't know if he'll get it, but do the Bulls want to invest into that for a guy that I don't really know if he has the upside? Which is why I was starting to talk to like Darius in the last stream. So when it comes to the contract extension rules, just TLDR, they like Kobe's not going to accept it because it's basically a 4-year like $80 million offer, and that's not enough to get Kobe to accept that. There's no way Kobe can 100% go into free agency and get more than that. But you can offer pretty much almost similar money to Ayo. But my argument with Ayo is like, you're not gonna need to offer 4 years $80 million to Ayo. But the mid-level exception for the NBA, the estimate at least for the 2026 offseason is this number here. It's basically just say 50 million flat, right? So if you're the Bulls, do you maybe offer Ayo like 3-year $45 million deal, right? And so this cap hold here, it will eat into the salary cap space for the Bulls, but you go ahead and just offer this contract here, because I know it might sound a little too early to maybe do like such a thing now, but let's say come January, right? Like, you see he's playing well, he's healthy. It's like, hey, like, do you want to just keep him around and offer him this money? Because if you do, even if you offer him, let's say 3 years, $45 million, he's making $15 million flat every year. I think this is still a very tradable contract, right? And so you lock him up so that you don't lose him in unrestricted free agency, which I think that there's a very real chance you could lose him in unrestricted free agency. But then you could also lose Kobe as well. And so this just kind of gives you some like security. If you end up losing Kobe, then like you still have Io still around here. But still on what I would personally consider a very tradable contract. So that's the reason why I think that it would be kind of worth it for the Bulls. Like, I understand it does eat into some of the salary cap space here, but not by that much. But do you offer Io like this much? Because again, this is mid-level exception, right? So you offer Io basically mid-level exception, 15 million, 15 million, 15 million for the next 3 seasons after the season. Give him that extension now, and then that gives you the security in case if Kobe White does leave in free agency that, hey, you still have Io around. If then, though, let's say you re-sign Kobe White, right? Then you go ahead and then you maybe look to then trade Io away instead, right? Because now it's like, okay, well, we had our insurance, we ended up keeping Kobe anyway. Then, all right, maybe look to then trade Io now. Yeah, it's obviously $15 million versus 7, but it's still, at least in my opinion, pretty tradable contract. That's again mid-level exception money. I know 15 million sounds like a lot right now, but it's mid-level exception now, so it's different. Yeah, I don't know. It's just something just to throw out there. I keep bringing it up on almost every stream because like I think it's important to look at. I think that this is like an actual potential option for the Bulls to do such a thing, and yeah, maybe you just feel better about just the Bulls not completely screwing things over in this upcoming offseason, where like they just lose Kobe White for nothing and lose Io for nothing, and so then all of a sudden the 2 guys that are in trade rumors, they just leave for nothing. That would be a dreadful offseason, and then you don't fill in the gaps. So I don't know, just thoughts. It's my brain always working in overdrive, honestly, when it comes to this sort of stuff here. Yeah. All right. If you have not hit the like button on the stream, please do. Helps me out a lot. Appreciate everyone being here and tuning in for the first post game stream of the season. I was very excited to stream today. I'm very happy that we were able to stream today. It was a good game to stream. Obviously the Bulls win, but I don't really care about the record. But we saw some good things. Unfortunately, I will bring up a couple of bad things here. I guess I won't do necessarily like I don't want to like show like the film stuff. Like I showed a couple of bad things already, but turnovers, 25 turnovers for the Bulls. We had 9 in the first quarter. That can't happen. There needs to be an absolute adjustment for the Bulls to not let that happen, especially in the half court. Let me just show you guys just how terrible the first quarter was. Oh, I guess they lowered it to 8. Okay. Either way, though, we had 8 first quarter turnovers for the Bulls. That is unacceptable. We cannot have that happen. Yeah, just too many guys turning the ball over at a very alarming rate. Zach Collins, yeah, like these 2 were not good. Okoro had 2. Herder had a pretty bad one, which we saw at the start of the game. We saw Giddey have one. Like just can't. Like we got to limit these because we're gonna have enough turnovers in transition. So we just got to limit these a little bit. Now I have not actually looked at the exact numbers with this, so let me go and look at this. Oh, I want to see. Okay, so 50 points in the paint. So the Bulls won the paint battle today. I still think though that overall in this game we saw too much dribble penetration from the Cavs. We got to find ways to limit that. I showed some good defensive plays, but we got to find ways to make sure that we consistently bring the defensive intensity. We did see Dalen Terry try to take a charge, and so like that is something I am watching this year to see if like, hey, where can we see maybe guys taking some charges this season? Because the Bulls seem to have emphasized that yeah, we're gonna be taking charges and like we're working on it in practice. And I understand that there's been some discussion about like, is that really effective? The thing is though, is that like from guys like Giddey and guys like Herder, guys like Kobe, the guys that I don't really think bring much defensively, if they can take charges, like I will take it, because they're not gonna be any sort of rim protectors anyway, but they're not really good perimeter defenders also. So if they're willing to take some charges, I'd be gladly to take it, but what we have to see obviously that. But my goal for the preseason in these 5 games was to see if the Bulls could take 2 charges, because they took 13 total charges all of last season. So if you take 2 charges in this preseason, that's 15% of the total amount of charges you took last season. Okay, But we saw one attempted charge today. It did not go in Dalen Terry's favor, unfortunately. But I hope to see more of that. If that is going to be an emphasis by the Bulls, that I want to see more of that, to see if guys can properly rotate, get there and beat the ball handler to the spot, and take the charge. So we'll see if we get more of that, and obviously if when more of the starters do play, hopefully we'll see more of it. But the defensive consistency just needs to be better. Obviously, it's first game, but it is something we gotta look at. I agree with you, Giddy, by the way. I'm just saying I don't predict him becoming 100% better scored, but say he becomes 50% better and the other 50% comes from playing to his passing strengths. Okay, so you're saying like he gets to like 16 points per game, but like I mean, people already consider him one of the better passers in the league, but like you kind of just solidify him as like one of the best passers. Is like consistently getting double-digit assists every game. Like, okay, I can kind of see a world where maybe that's effective, but I still think then you need to go and get like 2 20-point scorers. So whether it's Buzelis plus someone else or and when I mean that someone needs to be able to score 25 plus consistently, and then like that's like your MVP caliber or superstar. Let's just say that. And then obviously the second option. But still, though, it's still just, no matter what, it still means that Giddey has to increase his scoring, and that's just something I just don't know. Yeah, maybe. It's like I'm trying to like convince myself with like the whole Halliburton like comparison. I just don't think that they're comparable. Like I think both Giddey and Halliburton, just the way that they play, like yeah, the passing is obviously comparable. Like they both are incredible passers and they find guys and they have great court vision at all moments throughout the game. But Halliburton's offensive efficiency is just at a different level. And so I guess then the argument is just like, okay, if you're able to find ways for Giddey to kind of like help others get like their offensive rhythm, then maybe it helps Giddey find his offensive rhythm as well. Opens up shots for him, and then he can knock those down. But I don't know. I just find those two players very different. In terms of how I put them as players. Not everything is stat sheet, right? Like I think that a lot of people kind of forget sometimes that the most valuable trait in basketball is the score, the basketball. Well, yes, obviously that there are many other things in this game, right? Good defense, rebounding, good court vision, the ability to switch defensively, rotate effectively. I understand that, but no matter what, at the end of the day, like the most effective thing that you can do for your team is score the ball. It is by far the most direct thing that you can do to affect the team's outcome is that, hey, can you score the ball? Yeah, I can score the ball. Like that's like the most important thing. So that's just like I always think that people kind of forget about it. Yeah, we'll see. Once again, I am hoping for Giddey to prove me wrong. I'm hoping he's going to come out and show me that he's going to, what we saw in March, it was not a fluke, and he's going to come out and average 20 points per game and 8 and 8, and we're looking good then. But I don't know. I'm still sitting here I don't believe what we saw is going to be the consistent Giddey time in, time out. So we'll see. Do we settle with bigs we have, or do we still try to find out big for the future? At least in my opinion, CM Sharp, I think that all 3 bigs on this roster should not be part of the future plans. I'm specifically talking about the centers and Vucevic, Collins, and Smith. I think if you asked me last season, I think that having Jalen Smith around as like a backup would have been pretty solid. I think now, though, for what I have seen with him kind of being at the end of the bench, it's a little bit concerning for me. I thought that he would kind of take over like the backup spot again, but I will agree that he has not had some, like, he's had some rough moments. The one thing with Jalen Smith has always been the efficiency, and I agree, it has not been there recently. Again, lack of playing time though. But because of that, I am thinking like all 3 of those guys are probably not part of my future. So if you can find a way to go and find a future big, then good. If I were to keep any one of them, it would probably be Collins for now, but like I'm more than willing just to find a different big personally. So whether that is through the draft or whether it's through a trade, like, I don't really know what that means, but I do think that is something that we should be looking at for the future. At least for now. First things first, though, is that we gotta get Vooch off this roster. Like, I can't stress it enough of just the fact that, like, the life would be so much more simpler if Vooch was off the roster, and then you could just start Collins and Jalen Smith as your backup. Like, it would make things so much easier if that we just started there, if Vooch was just gone. As like, I know Vooch had a great year last season, but like, we're not getting anything in terms of good value for in trades because he's 35 or soon to be 35 or whatever he is now. And he's on the last year of his contract, and he's not a good defensive center. So like, there's no team is going to go out and give us something good for him. So I don't know what the front office is waiting for, but if we could just get him off the team, then it makes things so much simpler for the center rotation, and then we can maybe make a better decision about if we should keep Collins or not, right? Or keep Smith or not. Because I do think that there is a world where you do keep Collins. Like, I do think there's a world where you can maybe keep Jalen Smith, but for now, at least, I would just say just move on from all of them. Yuki fan? I mean, look, I'm definitely a Yuki fan. I think a lot of people are a Yuki fan, but I love what I see from Yuki, man. He's a fun watch for sure. Yeah, I do think that I will probably be going to the Windy City Bulls and seeing a game in person to watch him play for sure. Yuki is just crazy though. Like, I don't know how many of you guys were here when we had the stream when it was like the last game of the Bulls Summer League, and we were on stream for hours talking about like what is the best Yuki comparison in terms of like NBA player. Like, we were going through names, right? Because like, you know, people really bring up Rajon Rondo or like Ricky Rubio, right? Because like Yuki's a fantastic passer, and like, yeah, I think both those guys were also great passers in their time. But what Yuki brings though is that he actually has like the 3-point shot. Like, he's obviously plays like a little bit faster in a sense. Like, he's smaller, so he's gonna be playing a little bit faster. But like, he has like that 3-point shot and like that step back in his game. And so like, we kind of like came to the conclusion that like Yuki is like a much smaller and worse Kyle Lowry from when the year they won the championship in 2019. Which like, that year for Lowry was like, he was mostly just like a really good like, you know, floor general. Like, he scored like 14 or 13 points per game in that year, I think, if I remember correctly. But like, the main scorers were Kawhi Leonard and Pascal Siakam. But yeah, I mean, like, I love Yuki, man. Like, I don't think Yuki's ever going to be a starter. I want to make that clear. I'm not saying he's going to ever become a Kyle Lowry. We were just like making like fun comparisons, but I think that there is a world though for Yuki where he does eventually become somehow like a backup guard in this league, or maybe just like the third string guard, right? Third string point guard for the team, which I think like that in and of itself would be a pretty major accomplishment. Is that if he does get a solidified NBA contract, is like, yeah, he probably won't play many games, but if he's the third string point guard on the team, like, I think that's honestly a really big accomplishment for him. So right now, again, he's still on 2-way contract, so the Bulls are going to be having him in the G League for most of the season, but he can also be up with the regular team for part of the year. But yeah, I like him, man. I don't know what his future is with the Bulls though, because we have Giddey, we have Kobe, we have Trey Jones, who we just re-signed. We have Io to figure out what we're gonna do with him. We have a lot of guys still on this roster. We got to figure out what to do with these guys before we get to Yuki. But I love his game, man. He's a fun watch for sure. That was kind of hooping, and it's been for a little bit. If he takes a much better contract, I'd be happy with him as a backup. I mean, yeah, if like Zach Collins takes like he's gonna take like, I don't know, around like 10 million or like, I guess like 9-ish million as like a backup, like, yeah, I'd be open to it for sure. I do think though that if it were up to me, like, I want a much better shot blocking big, for my center if I could find it. Like, if I could have Jarrett Allen right now, I would gladly take Jarrett Allen. He's a guy that I'm like, oh yeah, like that would be the perfect type of big for me, at least in my opinion. Very, very efficient shot blocking big who can also kind of guard on the perimeter as well. Like, I think people kind of forget how good Jarrett Allen is with his efficiency. Like, just to show you his stats from last season, okay? This is preseason, this is regular season, okay? But like, the dude shot 70% from the field last season, which is just like unreal. one of the best shooting seasons we've seen, I think, in NBA history for a guy with how many shots he does take. Yeah, I mean, he has consistently shot over 60% in his entire career. And he also is consistently getting blocks and, like, being a good defensive overall, like, center. You know, double-digit rebounds per game. Like, this is a very, very quality center in the league right now. So, yeah, I would gladly take Jared Allen and his uber efficiency from the field and good overall defense and rebounding. He'd be my guy. I would just, like, yep, scoop him up right now. Obviously, though, like, we just can't find a Jared Allen easily, right? Derek Lively's another guy. In terms of, like, guys, though, that can, like, kind of shoot it, though, like, I have to kind of think about guys that are, like, yeah, I would take him as, like, a center right now that can also shoot the ball. I wouldn't want Porzingis personally. Şengün doesn't really shoot it, really. Wembanyama, which I don't want to. Yeah, he doesn't count. He's something different. Let's go Bear. Miles Turner's on the Bucks right now. I guess like someone like him would be also kind of nice. Good shot blocker, pretty good 3-point shooter overall. Yeah, I'm not talking about like the stars. I'm just talking about just like kind of just like centers. Definitely not Wendell Carter Jr. Definitely not that guy. Zubac is another guy right now that I love. Like getting like him. He doesn't shoot it though. Yeah, I personally would be completely fine if our next center does not shoot the 3-ball. Like, it would be nice, but I don't think he needs to shoot the 3-ball. I think just having him be a efficient interior scorer and a good defender is what we need. Like, good screen setter. I should also point out other things. A good screen setter is also important. Good defender. Good job guarding the pick and roll. Can do multiple pick and roll defending assignments. Can rebound effectively on both ends of the floor, score efficiently in the interior, and has like a little bit of a post-up game if there's ever the mismatch. That'd be my kind of center for, like, that'd be my type of guy. But yeah, you don't find those very often. It's hard to find those guys consistent. If we're not obviously getting like a superstar at center, right? Like if I could have Jokic, then obviously I'd have Jokic. If I could have Embiid healthy, then yeah, I'm taking Embiid. But yeah, those are very hard to find right now. I got like Isaiah Hartenstein, right, for the Thunder with what he does. Like, yeah, very, very solid. I don't really know how to feel about Ayton right now. He's kind of all over the place with how he is as a player. There's good and bad with an Ayton. Like the numbers look all right. Production, like numbers look okay. The effort and the very good. Yeah. If Collins is our backup and we have like a consistent, like if somehow let's say for example we get Walker Kessler, like yeah, I would gladly take Walker Kessler as my starting center for the future. And then like if Collins is our backup big for sure, like that would be great. But we can't just get Walker Kessler that easily. As much as I would love to see Walker Kessler on the Bulls, but is what it is. All right, y'all. With that being said, though, it is a weeknight, and I do have a thing in the morning, but I still have some time here. So, once again, if you have not hit the like button on the stream, please do. Helps me out a lot. Thank you guys so much for all tuning in. Do we have anything else we want to talk about before we do officially end our first post-game stream of the season? Anything else we want to talk about? If not, then I want to ask you guys some other questions about just kind of the stream content in general. And I want to get you guys' opinion, especially from you, Viper Strike. I want to hear a couple things from you. If you guys are still here. Portland pick. What about it? Are you asking like how likely is it to convey to us, or what were my general thoughts about it? Here, okay, yeah. Just stick with me for a second, Viper Strike. Let me pull up Real GM for the draft pick. So, CM Sharp, to kind of break down what if you don't know, like, let me just ask you this, like, do you understand what the Portland pick is, like, and what it, like, how it conveys to the Bulls, or do you not? I can break that down for you, by the way. Like, if you don't, it's completely fine. I'm willing to break it down for you. But if you do know, then, like, I don't want to explain to someone that knows, obviously. More than willing to talk about it. Explain? Okay. So, right now for this Portland pick, it's listed here. Okay. So if you're wondering about the Bulls' future draft picks, so let's just say for the 2026 draft, we have our own currently. Right. We could trade this, but we have our own currently, and then we have the Portland pick right now that it is lottery protected, which means that if the Portland Trailblazers miss the playoffs, they get to keep their pick. Okay. So it does not come to us. Okay. If the Portland Trailblazers make the playoffs, though, then we get their pick. Okay, so that means that the pick would be, because if you miss the playoffs, then you're not in the lottery, which means that your pick will fall between 15 to 30, which means then the Bulls would get the pick. Okay, now let me be clear. If, let's say, for example, Portland does not make the playoffs this season, which I do not expect them to make it, but I hope they sum up a miracle and do, then it just goes then the next season. It's just the same rules apply for the 2027 season, and same thing applies for that season as well. And so if it does not convey this year and Portland misses the playoffs again, okay, then it will go down in 2028. Now, this is the last year, though, for this pick. If Portland does not make the playoffs this year as well, okay, the pick is then no longer going to be first round protected in the future from Portland, okay? Instead, what the Bulls end up getting is a second round pick from Portland in 2028, which would be Portland's 2028 second round pick. So, any questions? Anything that you need re-explained? Did I make any sense? Did I make sense, or did I not make sense? Just let me know. Do you understand, CM Sharp? Ads are off, by the way. So if you're worried about getting an ad, you're not going to get it. Also, thank you for all the people that do watch ads, or if you watch me with premium, I sincerely do appreciate it. It really does help me allows me to do stuff like this. So I sincerely do appreciate it. I do apologize about the ads, but it is also kind of the only way I make money off of this. So I do sincerely appreciate it. That sucks. They won't make it in 5 years. So let me just say this though to you, CM Sharp. The Portland Trailblazers, they just traded for Drew Holiday. Okay. They also just signed Damian Lillard, and I understand he's coming off an Achilles tear, and I don't know what sort of Lillard's going to show up for them. But if you're wondering about Portland and where they currently stand as an organization, they're trying to win. Okay, they're not trying to tank. They're not trying to draft guys and develop. Okay, they're trying to win. The problem is though is that they're in the Western Conference. That's the biggest issue. It's just that they're in the West. If they were in the East this season, I think there's a legit shot that they get into the playoffs, like a really legit shot. I think they could have a better record than the Bulls easily, and a lot of the other teams. The problem is just that they're in the West, and the West is an absolute dogfight right now. There are 13 squads in the Western Conference that are trying to make the playoffs, and there's only 8 spots. So that's kind of the problem for the Portland. I don't think this year is going to be the year for them, unfortunately, unless Denny Avdia takes a massive leap, and what we saw at the end of the season was real. Scoot Henderson's going to have to finally show that why he was drafted so highly. I don't think it's going to be this year. However, I do think that in 2027, this is the year that Lillard is supposed to be back. And now I don't expect Lillard to come back and be all-star Lillard after Achilles tear. But I do expect him to still be kind of a pretty solid player, especially with the medicine that we have. Maybe this is the year, right? Maybe there's some shifting that goes on. Maybe more people go into the Eastern Conference because, yeah, why wouldn't you at this point? I mean, the East is so damn wide open that you should just come on over to the Eastern Conference. I also want to watch games at a decent hour and watch stars at a decent hour and not have to stay up until 11:30 or p.m. my time to always watch the stars. So please, people come on over to the East. That'd be great. But I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but I think if there's ever a shot, it's going to be this year for the 2027 year, maybe the 2028 year. But there is, I think, honestly, like I'm being dead serious with you, CM Sharp. Like I think there's a legit possibility that this pick does eventually get conveyed to the Bulls. There's a legit possibility. It just matters if Lillard comes back and how he looks, and then like some of the other like pieces around them and how they look. Again, the West is a dogfight, though. The West is just such a dogfight. The Grizzlies missed the playoffs last season, what was it? Okay, wait. No, Grizzlies missed it. Or no, they made it. Okay, got it. I always forget this, but yeah, Grizzlies were the 8th seed last season. They had 48 wins. 48 wins in the Eastern Conference is the 5th seed last season. Like, it's just such a dogfight out there. I mean, the Kings had 40 wins, right? So like that's like Bulls territory, but like it's just insane how many teams had 48 wins or more last season in the West. Yeah, it's nuts. Anyway, like it would have to probably be through like a play-in kind of like miracle. But you know, players get injured, LeBron might retire, who knows? Does the play-in count? No, right? So if the play-in allows Portland to make the playoffs, like it gives them a chance to make the playoffs, right? But if they lose in the play-in, then they're in the lottery. So then we do not get the pick. If they win in the play-in though, and then make the playoffs, then we would get the pick because they made the playoffs then, right? But the play-in goes to the 10 seed, right? So it's not top 8, right? It goes to the 10 seed. So, like if they're in the play-in, there's a shot for them to be in the playoffs and also miss the playoffs. So we'd have to wait until the results happen. But like I said, though, like the Dallas Mavericks had 39 wins last season, and like they were in the play-in, even though the Warriors had 48 wins. Like there is a possibility. Like there's even with a not so great record, like if you're Portland, like let's say you win like 41 games, right? If you just happen to beat the two teams that you face in the play-in and make it to the playoffs as the 8th seed, then hey, the Bulls get the pick then. Okay, that's a possibility. And those teams that you beat, you might have 7 less wins than them, but you still beat them in the play-in tournament, and therefore you're in the playoffs, and that's all that matters. So I do think that there's a legitimate shot. It's not, it's not in favor of the Bulls for sure. I don't think it's in favor for the Bulls or for Portland to make the playoffs, but I think there's a shot. Which I think a lot of people right now think that there's like no shot. I think there's like a legit possibility of it happening. We'll just see though. At the end of the day, I would like for the Bulls to not have to just try to rely on this pick. It doesn't seem like they are, but like I would like to get more draft assets that's not this pick. I seriously doubt we'll ever see that though, because this Bulls front office doesn't value draft assets for whatever goddamn reason. But yeah, I would like to see if the Bulls can find more draft assets to acquire, and not have to be solely looking at this pick here and out. But we'll see. Good news though is that the Bulls do own their draft picks from here on out. I guess, which is like, it's all right. I just want more. We also have no second rounders for the next 2 seasons or next 2 drafts, which is not good. But that can change quickly. Yeah. Any other questions, CM Sharp? All good? All right. Yeah, hopefully that was a good explanation. If you have any questions though, just hop in next stream, or if you want to join the Discord, or if you want to like DM me or at me on Twitter, always available to answer any of those questions. Always willing to talk. Here, let me sorry, hold on. You might get an ad here, but I'm gonna turn it back off. But if you do get an ad here, I do apologize. But it's going back off immediately. All right, I apologize to anybody that did get an ad. You shouldn't though, but there's a chance. All right, so I know a lot of people are off Twitter nowadays. I don't blame you. especially with what's going on in the world. But yeah, here's my Twitter. If you're ever interested in joining my Twitter, go ahead if you're ever interested in following my Twitter, go ahead and do that. If you want to join the Discord, it is in the description box below. I can probably find a way to go and get the description. Hold on, give me. Yeah. So I hope this link works. Actually, I'm not entirely sure if it does. Hold on. Let me. Oh, it does not. Oh, okay. Hold on. Actually, that's bad. Sorry. Let me get a fresh link here to join the Discord. Sorry. Hold on. I'm gonna hide screen. What the? There we go. So if you want to join the Discord, here's the fresh link to join the Discord. Viper Strike's in it, so if you ever want to join the Discord and just talk basketball, we have people in there talking about it, so feel free to join. Here we go. Sorry, we're back now. Appreciate all the likes, y'all. Thank you so much for all the likes. I sincerely do appreciate it all. Yeah, I just want to make so. I know I've been teasing this whole announcement thing, but it is like a pretty big deal for me. But yeah, I would appreciate, like, I sincerely do apologize. I do not know when it's gonna be officially announced. It might honestly be announced tomorrow. It's gonna be really awkward. But yeah, so whenever it does get announced, it should be announced on Twitter. But when it is announced, like, any support about it, I would also sincerely appreciate it, because it is like a pretty big deal for me here. But I hope you guys are gonna enjoy it. It should be a good time. But this year is definitely gonna be a year for me where I'm heavily focusing on the content for this year. I think we're honestly off to a really good start with like doing like all these plays here. That, you know, drawing plays, like talking about the actions within the Bulls 5-out offense and showing like certain actions for certain players. Like, I think we're off to a good start. I think that sort of content is what is needed in this Bulls sphere, or Bulls like fan base. And so I'm hoping that it's going to be a good year content wise for me. Viper Strike, are you still here? I want to talk to you for a little bit on stream, if you don't mind. If you do have to go, let me know. It's totally fine. I'll message you later. But if you're here, yeah, you're John. Okay. When it comes to this stream, I need you to just, I'll keep talking here, but how does my camera look compared to the sound? Like, does it look in sync? And has it stayed in sync throughout the stream? If you remember, I'm hoping it has, because I think that I've been working around with a lot of settings, and I think we finally figured out what some of the problems was. But it should continue to stay in sync, or at least close. I just need at least close. It doesn't have any desyncs. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. How does the mic quality sound? Is it peaking at all? Are we too loud, or are we peaking it, or are we too quiet? Are there moments you can't hear me? What are your overall thoughts on the mic quality? No, it's not peaking? All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. So I think we officially, with that, like, you have no idea how much this helps me, Viper Strike. Because sometimes when I listen back to my own live streams, like, I don't fully know what's right or what's wrong. Like, it's like, I kind of have like a distorted kind of own thoughts about my voice. You sounded good on stream? All right, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so I think we officially have the settings. Like, I have like the official settings down that makes it a good sound quality, and make sure that the desync doesn't happen, which is, thank God, because the desync was pissing me off so bad that, like, I didn't stream for a little bit just because I was trying to figure out the desync issues. But I think we finally have the desync issues figured out, which is fantastic, which I know I'm jinxing it, but this is good. Other question, Viper Strike. When it comes to these post-game streams, like, I know, like, let's just take today, for example. Were you having, like, was it like, were you looking forward to like joining the stream and like wanting to be here? Or, like, was this like the place you wanted to be? And like, was today good, or do you think that we need to talk off stream about stuff I can do better? Or anything like that. I just want to know like your opinion on like how today went and how the vibes were. I'm gonna change the song. Sorry, I'm getting annoyed with this. I love this song, but I also want to hear it way too much. It's a little. Let me see. Let's. Aiming good content is isn't too based on quick reactions. All right, gotcha. I appreciate that. Okay. Sometimes I just need that, like, because like I've gotten some comments that are just like interesting to me because I'm like, huh, like that wasn't really my thought process or like my goal, but it kind of just like that's the way some people kind of took it. I was just like, huh, like, do I need like a? I just kind of need to like hear from like all these different opinions. Like, by the way, Vipers, like you're not the only person who's gonna get these questions or like that specific question. Like, there's gonna be other people getting this from me, but like I'm always just like interested in like, is some of these comments that I see, I'm just like, are they just not happy with what my like analysis is, and that's the reason why they're like calling me biased, or they're calling me like too quick to react on some things, or they're like, oh, you don't like, you're just completely wrong about it, or is it just like maybe I'm actually wrong? But the goal is, no matter what, is to that I want to make sure that like this content space with this channel is consistently, one, it's everyone's welcome, right? I want everyone to feel welcomed, and I don't want to ever put anybody down, because I know I've made that mistake in the past with other chatters before, and I heavily regret it. But I want to also make sure that you know, we are all respectful to each other, but at the end of the day, I also want to make sure it's also really good content, and we have a good time with it. So I think that we're on a good path, I think, and I think with this thing that's coming out soon here from me is also like another good step in the right direction, to help be building the audience. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing a lot this year, with not just like doing like my own YouTube content or my streams, but also engaging with fans in the stream, my community, but also with other Bulls content creators that I want to like you know, do other content with. Yeah, I have a lot of goals this year. I know I won't hit every single goal, but I'm glad just to have these goals in mind. So yeah, well, I think we're off to a good start to this season. I'm happy to say so. You're really good. You're really good. I'm a Pat Will hater. You handled that great. Yeah, I appreciate that. Like that's. I want to make. Let me be very clear. CM Sharp. Like, I don't know how often you watch my stuff. If you watched all of last season, I'm just like, Patrick has just like it's like I've been so done with him. He just consistently just makes me disappointed. I'm consistently frustrated with him. It's always bad. I criticized the crap out of him last season. But yeah, I want to make it very clear, like, when someone is doing good though, like, I will obviously, like, I want to point it out. Like, I think Patrick had a pretty good game today. It's not starter level, but I think he did a pretty good job today, and I think he deserves that. Even though all of us are thinking like, well, that's just one game, like, you know, you're facing a bunch of third stringers, like, can you actually go out and do this consistently on a regular basis in the regular season? And we'll have to wait and see, but I don't blame you if you're thinking like this wasn't much. Like, I don't blame you at all. I think that's honestly, like, I think a lot of people think that way, and I see every argument why. Yeah, I always want to make sure that want to make clear that I'm always rooting for all the players. Like, I never want to see anyone fail on this team. That's never my agenda. I never want to do that. But Whether they play good or bad, I'll make it very clear on this channel. When they deserve criticism, I'll give it to them. When Billy Donovan deserves criticism, I give it to him. I think we all know about the front office, how I think about it. I'm not happy with the front office, but make it very clear. But if they play well, then yeah, they absolutely deserve their praise, and I want to make sure that they get their shout out. And like, you know, especially I think some people, for example, like I know probably most Bulls fans tonight like are probably all hyped about Buzelis and everything like that. As much as like I'm also hyped about him. I'm sure that there's some Bulls fans that don't really believe in Buzelis, and they're probably thinking that, oh, this wasn't much. But like, I think he absolutely deserves his praise tonight. He showed a lot tonight that I think we need to take into our heads and be like, okay, like this is something that we've seen before, and let's see if he can do that consistently. I think you're a very lucid take on the Bulls, in my opinion. I watched CHGO. One of the dudes there really hates Giddey. It's weird when people come in here and call you Giddey hater. That's Matt Peck, right? With CHGO, which. Let me just be clear. I think CHGO, with their production and the people that they have, like first and foremost, I think their characters, they're very cool characters. I think they also all have a story that is pretty interesting. Like Matt Peck and Dave, they were on the Bulls Outsiders, I believe it was called, which that was an NBC Sports thing, which like that's where they kind of like got their following and everything like that. It's like they're definitely like they have their character that a lot of people like to follow and everything. Will Gottlieb is someone that I never knew before CHGO, but like he's by far one of the best beat writers that we have. The production there is always good. I will say though that the CHGO parent company and like their whole whoever's running the company, like the whole layoffs thing really pissed me off. They laid off a bunch of people that I think are good workers, like right before Christmas last season or last year, and it just is just like it's terrible. With that being said though, I think that CHGO does a really good job with their production. I do think Matt Peck kinda sorta leans towards the hater side with Giddey, but I also do think though that he brings up some really good points of why he thinks that Giddey won't be an all-star, or like why he has a lot of distaste towards Giddey. I do think though there is a little bit that is a little bit too far with him, but he does bring up some good points, I think. I'm like, oh, I didn't think of that. Like, yeah, I guess if you frame it this way, I'm like, okay, I see what you're saying with how you feel about him. Yeah, I've had people come in, you know, in the comment section or like in streams call me the Giddey hater. Let me just be clear again. I don't hate Giddey. I want Giddey to succeed. I have just been like, I'm just watching around with how some Bulls fans have talked about Giddey, and I really just don't like it when there's so many Bulls fans talking about how they think that Giddey kind of got wronged by the Bulls this offseason, and like the Bulls completely screwed him over, and like the fan base is like not, you know, like they feel like the Giddey stands really think that the fan base should be like all in on like Giddey and saying like no, like don't talk about his wrongs, always talk about his rights, and you know they think that's like the way of supporting the guy. And I'm just like, to be a fan of a team does not mean that you have to say like every single player that has some potential is gonna be an all-star, or you're never gonna point out what they do wrong or what their weaknesses are in their game. Like that's not how we should, like, at least in my opinion, that's not how we should fan. But I know that there are some people that genuinely believe that if you're a fan of a team, that you should never point out the negatives, that you should always be cheering for what they do and supporting every decision that they make. And hey, I will never ever tell someone how to fan, but personally, on the way that I'm going to fan as a major diehard Bulls fan is I am not going to do that, and I'm going to always give you my own take on it and give you my opinion, and I will criticize player, front office, coach, no matter. I don't care. I will be giving you my opinion no matter what. Yeah, it's very interesting just to see how some people kind of fan with their team. It's just quite interesting how I see things on Twitter. But yeah, once again, I will never tell anyone how to fan. I think that there are some people that have a very interesting way of looking at things when it comes to. That's all. Just the only people I feel like you're actually a hater are is Ryan Surf and AK personally, but I don't think anyone's happy with him at this point. Let me be very clear. I will 100% raise my hand and say I'm a Reinsdorf hater, and I don't think that's like a hot take at all. Like, it's not just the way he runs the team. It's like the Chicago Sports Network thing is so bad that I'm like, you guys cannot find a way to take my money so I can watch the Bulls game right now. And I just cannot fathom the fact that you are a business and you cannot find a way to take my money at this moment in time. If you're wondering what was happening, I tried to buy the Bulls only subscription today and it wasn't working. Like, it just wouldn't go through. And I was livid. I was just like, why did this not work? I had to go just make a new account. And for some reason that then worked. But I'm just like, there are too many issues with how Reinsdorf does his operations with not just the teams, but just the way he operates his business. Yeah, I think that's a perfectly fine person to hate. Because he very clearly does not care about the fans. So why should I care about him, honestly? AK, like, let me also be clear about AK in the front office. Like, I want them to make the right decisions. They just haven't done it. And because of that, I'm gonna just be criticizing the hell out of them. Just like, you're not doing anything right now. I could end up being completely wrong, and Giddey becomes an MVP candidate, and Buzelis is an All-NBA player, and Kobe White becomes a 25 point per game scorer and a great efficiency, and all of a sudden the Bulls are trying to win a championship suddenly, and I look like an absolute idiot. But I'm gonna make a bet that won't happen. But this is the way that they decide to build their core, and I'm like, okay, well, it's hard for me to call a team a core if I don't think you really have like your pecking order really down yet. And that's kind of my biggest issues with the front office, the way that they operate, and they don't care about draft picks, so makes things a lot harder. The Giddey fans are nuts. The closest we have gotten that, where the Zach Truther is talking about DeMar. Yeah, that's... So, it's so interesting with me, because, like, I might be part of the Zach Truther club, but I don't know, honestly. Like, the Zach Truther club, like, I might genuinely be a part of it, but I also have just seen some people, like, I've seen a lot of Bulls fans when it comes to Levine, like, they just, I just think that they're completely off when it comes to their evaluations of him, and I might be also off, but yeah, I don't know. It's odd. DeRozan is a guy that I have criticized his game for sure, but his first year here, I mean, like, if he's gonna shoot the way he did it from mid-range his first season, then like, there's not, like, I mean, hey, like, that he was incredible, right? It's just like the years after that, like, he had like some very great years, but it's just hard to rely on him so much when he is mid-range only, right? There's a limit to how effective he can be if he's not consistently getting, not shooting the three ball, not consistently getting to the paint, if he's just heavy mid-range, right? There's value, though, in his game for sure, though. I want to make this clear. I think that there is definite value in DeRozan's game. Like, come late fourth quarter, I mean, the dude, like, you see it in all the clutch stats, like, he is by far one of the more clutch players in the league. Because his game in crunch time, when the defense really locks in, is definitely very effective. Like, getting a mid-range shot or creating an open mid-range shot for yourself in crunch time is a very effective thing to have. It's kind of odd that in the playoffs he hasn't been very effective, because I feel like his game would translate better there, but just hasn't done that, unfortunately. But I do think that his overall game was it's hard for you to be a winning team consistently throughout the entire game, because his game doesn't keep up with the rest of the NBA. That's the issue with DeRozan. That's like, if he's gonna be taking all these shots like as like your main like scorer, it's hard to keep up with all the 3-point shots, the the dunks and the transition opportunities when he plays slower, doesn't shoot threes, and doesn't get to the rim. So there's just a limit with him. Really good for certain moments, really limited in other areas that kind of hurt your team. That I'm like, okay, well, unless he's gonna hit every mid-range shot like he did in his first season, where he was like MVP candidate, then it's hard for you to keep up with him handling the ball that much. So yeah, overall, I like Zach's game more for winning over DeMar, but some people really talked like Zach was perfect and DeMar was the devil with basketball. Yeah, so I don't think DeRozan's the devil. Like, he's not the devil. There's definitely, I think, more players that are considered the devil than DeRozan for sure. But I think, yeah, I really very adamant that I think LaVine is much more of a winning player than DeRozan is. With his just the way the game is played now. If this was 90s, it's a different story. DeRozan's game in the 90s, I think, would be much more effective and more winning. But we're talking about today's game. LaVine's efficiency just can't be like you just can't ignore it. That's the thing. Like his shot, like LaVine's shot quality is an F. Like he takes some of the most contested shots ever, but he still shoots at one of the most ridiculous rates I've ever seen. He won't bring much for you defensively. I think that he can kind of be a decent on-ball defender, where I think DeRozan really can't. DeRozan, though, actually does a good job at taking charges, where LaVine will never take that. He'll never take a charge. So like there's different areas of where they bring defensively, but it's not really good for them no matter what. But it's just LaVine's three-point shooting and efficiency at the rim is just, that's where it's like, yeah, I would much rather have him versus DeRozan right now if I'm trying to win. I don't want LaVine in the main ball handler role or anything like that. I would want LaVine as like second option or third option. LaVine next to Jokic I think would be perfect. DeRozan next to Jokic, I don't know how that would work. I'd have some thoughts about that I'm just like, how would that actually work out well? They'll find ways for sure, because I mean, hell, they made Westbrook kind of work with Jokic, but Westbrook wouldn't be a main option, obviously. So, I don't know. It's stuff like this, which is I hope shows like I truly love basketball. Like, I think like these sort of conversations like kind of show like I'm always thinking about this sort of stuff. And hey, like if we disagree, I think that's a completely fine thing at the end of the day. I hope that no matter what, though, if we do disagree, that we have, respectful conversations about it and show like, hey, I respect whatever sort of evidence or arguments that we have, right? I appreciate the talk, Viper Strike. I appreciate you taking the time to just answer my questions and everything. It helps a lot, and thank you also, CM Sharp. I appreciate you giving me that feedback. Feedback is always helpful for me, and I take it in and try to be better from it. So I sincerely appreciate it. All right, I have a message. Oh wow, the Yankees actually. I'm reading from someone. The Yankees stayed alive. I did not think the Yankees would stay alive today. Not a Yankees fan. It's just crazy for MLB baseball. All right, so to go ahead and preview the next time we will be streaming. So next game for the Bulls is on Thursday. We will be facing the same Cleveland Cavaliers team. We are at home though this time. So we're gonna be at home at the United Center. It's gonna be a 7 p.m. Central Time game, which means that the post-game stream is gonna be at about 9:30 p.m. Central Time, or around there, right? Whenever the game does end, which is gonna be around 9:30 p.m. Central Time. If you want to tune in for the second post-game stream, it's going to be around then on Thursday. Just to give you a little update or a little preview of what is to come here. So Bulls play Thursday. Then after they play on Thursday against the Cavaliers again, their next game is going to be on Monday against the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay. So their next game is going to be, Sunday. Sorry, I said Monday. Sunday against the Milwaukee Bucks. So it's going to be Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Time. After that, I believe it's Tuesday again. Yeah, so we'll be out in Denver on Tuesday next week to face off against Denver. We'll see who plays in that game. If I had to make a guess of who, like, if there's a game for the Bulls to just not play their starters or like kind of give those guys some rest, it'd be this game. So, right, and maybe it's the Bucks game, maybe it'd be the Bucks game, or we'll see. But usually, typically the Bulls pick a preseason game where they just don't play any of their main guys. And they play like, all their bench guys, and especially it gives a lot of time for guys like a Senge and, the bench warmers to get some playing time. So we'll see which game that's going to be. No matter what, though, I will be doing a post-game stream after, even if that is what happens, like none of the starters play, like that's fine. I'm still going to do a post-game stream. But I do expect then for the last preseason game, it's going to be on Thursday the 16th. We'll be facing against the Minnesota Timberwolves at the United Center at home. 7 p.m. Central Time. So I expect everyone to play in this one, though. I kind of expect this to be played as if it's almost a regular game until like the fourth quarter. That maybe they take out some of the main guys then. But yeah, that is going to be our preseason schedule here if you're not up to date on that. But if you're looking to see when the first regular season game is, it is on Wednesday, the 22nd of October, 7 p.m. Central Time at home against the Detroit Pistons. This is our first game of the season. The regular season starts on the Tuesday. So make sure that if you want to watch the NBC games, you get your antenna so you don't have to pay for cable if you don't want to pay for it. There's going to be games on Tuesday on NBC, so you can go watch it on an antenna, so go and do that. Bulls, obviously, their first game is going to be on Wednesday, like I said. So be prepared for probably a pregame stream on opening night for the Bulls. Want to do that then. All right. That being said, though, I just want to say thank you guys for all tuning in to the first post-game stream of the season. Fun overall first preseason game. We got to see some good things from some of the younger players, and I'm happy to see that. Looking forward to seeing how Buzas is going to continue his on-ball reps, especially with Kobe being out. I think overall it's a success, and I hope to see more of it. If you have not already hit the like button on the stream, please do. Helps me out a lot. I sincerely appreciate all the likes and the support. We had a lot of people come in and watch the stream tonight, so I sincerely appreciate every single one of you that did. If you have not followed my Twitter, go ahead and do that. Also join the Discord. Link is in the chat currently if you want to join the Discord. Yeah, be ready for an announcement. I just don't know when it's going to come out. I do apologize, though, about it. But yeah, well, I'm looking forward to seeing the announcement. But with that being said, though, I look forward to our second post-game stream of the preseason. It's going to be on Thursday. After the Bulls face the Cavs again here. And we'll be breaking this one down just like how we did today. So, looking forward to that. But Viper Strikes especially, I just want to say thank you to you. I sincerely do appreciate everything. Thank you so much for answering my questions. And Sharp, thank you for sticking with the stream and everything. And everyone else that was able to join in for the chat, I sincerely do appreciate it. But with that being said, everyone, let's go ahead and have a good night, get some rest, and be safe. I truly want everyone to be safe right now. I just want to say that. But thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Had a fun time. I'll see you all on Thursday. All right. Peace.